What is up, everybody? So, I would just like to point out real quick that St. George is, standing there, blinking. Qinggong standing there, blinking. Hector standing there, blinking. Sigurd is just sitting there with his eyes closed, and like, as we just sit here, unmoving, he just stays there with his eyes closed. Like he's never gonna do anything unless you like attack or whatever. Like, what is he doing? What, are we sleeping on the job here? Anyway, we're pushing it so hard on the team costs on this team that St. George doesn't have a craft essence at all. He is 0, so he's less tanky, all that, and it's gonna be hard to get his NP in time. That's gonna be the issue here. But we'll see if I can get his NP and turn Hector into a dragon and see how much damage we can do. Because the back row is like loaded up with buffers and stuff, so we're gonna try to do as much damage as possible. Okay, well, George can taunt though, get NP that way. He needs to NP on the turn that he dies, so I need to like predict that. So make sure he's not too tanky. Also have to make sure I'm ready to go before we get rid of the damage cut, because obviously this is not very fun if Hector doesn't do the damage cut anymore. Okay, not going particularly well for George on the NP game side of things. I don't know if I should have actually healed there. Another art card in the next hand. I think Qinggong still has 2 art cards, so 1 art thing. Will that be enough? I should not have healed. Yep, absolutely should not have healed. Fuck, we don't have an... oh god, okay, this is probably not gonna work on this run. I don't think we're gonna have the NP gain. Unless, Hector is very merciful here. He does like quick. So he'll have to do that, and then he'll have to actually attack George again, so he'll actually die. Taunt's going away. On the way to Qinggong. What a champ! Qinggong gives us a 4-turn taunt. And we don't have our NP. Okay, well, I could stall more, but then we might run out of these. We've only got 8 more. Let me think about this. Well, I kinda have to... I could guts and taunt, although there's really no reason to do that. Yeah, I'll just do this. Okay. As long as we die right here. We might... This is gonna be the problem. Alright, well, Dragon... Wait, do I need Qinggong? No. Qinggong is for later. I'll get Sigurd's NP no matter what, and I'll get Qinggong's NP no matter what. So I need to do as few attacks as possible, so don't do the George cards. Hey, Cobb. Those things on Hector are like a gimmick, where if you get 6 of them, they'll go away and they'll lower his NP by 1. And the reason for that is because his NP is stronger than normal. His NP removes your defense buff before damage. They want you to be scared of it. Okay, but trait buff right there is obviously he's a dragon. Okay, now it's Qinggong time. This is where, though, I wish I still had my stun. Don't actually need the battery one. I guess we'll give it to Sigurd, because if he gets 200%, that's better. Okay, I should use waiver cards so he dies and doesn't use them, so we don't ping off the shield. So we do that, and that. Yeah, George's NP looks awesome. Oh no, he's stunned. Well, we cut this really close on not pinging off the shield. On this turn, though, we're not doing any damage to it. It took longer to get rid of George. It would not normally take that long to get rid of George. I could have like set him up to die faster, but I just didn't have the team cost, so I had to let him get NP gain, which means he needed to live. Okay, I think we just fire everything here. Switch from Mahari, because I think she's the best buffer we got on this account, because I don't have some of the other really strong ones. It kind of sucks because her stuff can be guarded. We're so close. Actually, I can get 200%, I think. I can do his art card, then this, and then we might get another overcharge. Wait, I think I forgot a buff. I think I forgot to do the Mystic Code buff or something. Let me check. Cheating, by the way. Alright, chat, how much damage do you think we're gonna do? The boss has 1,000,000 damage cut, so... How much over 1,000,000 do you think we're gonna do? 1. Yeah, it'll do 1 damage. Actually possible if we did 1,000,000 in 1 damage. And we'll see, we got the dragon buff on him. Unless he removed it, which I don't think he did. You know he didn't, it's right there. You can tell it because it doesn't have the background. Okay, we did cast that. Alright, I guess I did cast everything. I canceled for no reason. Right. Damn it, 194. We're gonna lose some damage because of that. We won't have as much anti-dragon. Okay, she landed all of the defense downs. What are we going to see, chat? I have absolutely no idea, to be honest. Wait, whoa. Did he have... Whoa. Did he have the damage cuts? I have to reset because I have to confirm he had the damage cut still. Hello? We just did... If that's right, he just did 3.3 million. Jesus Christ, that puts everybody else we've used here to absolute shame. Like, what did we get out of, like, Caesar did good, but Caesar did like 500k, so Caesar did like 1.5. Now, to be fair to Caesar though, he was just level 70. Also, and this is very relevant, I just have more Buster support than I do quick support. But we use Scatty still, so... Yeah, big dragon damage. Yep, he still has the damage cut. Yeah, absolutely, he still had the damage cut, so he was lowering our damage by 1,000,000. I'm sad that we're killing him, because next turn we'd make stars because of this, and then our Buster buff lingers because of his buff, and then you could do Matahari's crit up and his own crit up, and do really big damage still. Just imagine if we had actually gotten that 200%, we get, I think he gets like an extra 15% damage if you overcharge, something like that. Damage 15%. That is actually probably the highest damage because I have the most Buster support, and then Sigurd is a decent NP rank and a 5-star, and then Big Niche. Either that or Scath when you are fighting Divinity, but I don't have as much quick support, so actually it's probably Sigurd. Damn, that is absolutely nuts. I knew he would do good damage, and I wasn't 100% sure if he'd kill or not, but yeah, no, we killed him a whole... We killed Hector multiple times over, with or without the damage cut. Okay, I should do an art unit at some point, but let's get some of these out of the way, because I keep forgetting to do them, and I want the loot, so... I haven't tried Roman memes yet. I kind of need an art unit for that. I'm trying to think... All I really have is Lancelot, and that's kind of shit because Lancelot does not have an upgraded NP. So, you know, Lancelot is more about doing medium NP damage and then medium crit damage constantly, right? And kind of just going and then getting his NP from the crits and just doing it over and over again. He's not really a burst unit. That would be fine if it was just a boss with 500,000 HP, but that's not how damage cut works. You know, every single time you attack, you're losing 1,000,000 damage. So, yeah, it don't really work out for people that want to do damage in that kind of way. I keep forgetting to check how much volume these stages give. I'll have to do that on this one. You can do 1,000,000 damage with the crit, absolutely, but might be easier to do that with Mori because of Qingong's buff, and then because of Merlin, because Merlin has the crit up as well. Yeah, Buster would be much better off there. And I don't have a lot of the typical art support. Really, I can support Buster the best by far, and then Quick, and then Art's the worst. Now, Art has good budget supports, but if I'm trying to go all out, I don't have anything really. I don't have, obviously, Castoria, I don't have Tam, I don't have any of that stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of hard for me to support an art unit. However, you can do the whole Roman memes, and Bodica is actually one of the bigger buffers. Castrogil's not that good though for raw damage. He's more about looping and Stargen and that kind of thing. The raw art up gives you not anything like Mozart's better for the most part, especially with Mozart's buff. And I don't have Castrogil's skills max because there's no real reason to. But anyway, Bodica will give you like 100% or like 110% damage up to an art unit. That's actually one of the biggest buffers you can possibly have. Like, I think it is. If you are fighting a Roman, or you make them Roman, I think Bodica is the strongest buffer in the game in terms of raw damage. Unless I'm forgetting someone. Because if I'm not wrong, she will give you 100. It's either 100% or 110% damage up total. If you're an art unit, it's not as much if you're not an art unit. Because she gives you art up, attack up, and the Roman damage up, and I'm pretty sure it equals like that. Let me check. I might be out of my mind here. Let's see. Bodica, and if you're in a normal stage and the enemy is like naturally Roman, like you're fighting Caligula or Romulus or Nero or something, she doesn't even need like the Roman trait. So, okay, let's see. So her NP gives you 20% attack up, although potentially more depending on overcharge, but generally 20% attack up. Her third skill will give you 20%, so that's 40%. And then her Roman is 60, so she's giving you 100%. So she can give you 110% or 105 or whatever, depending on overcharge, if there's like other NPs going off. So it's possible for her to give you more than 100%, but 100 is kind of what's just there, which is really good. Like, that's crazy. Okay, hold on, I killed the music. Alright, these stages are pretty whatever. You kind of just sit around doing nothing. I don't know what they were thinking with these stages, really. They're pretty lame. They could be fun if you done more. Oh, I didn't catch that. I actually want George to live as long as possible. You know what? I can give him invulnerability too. No reason not to. Man, people must be so happy that I have Grail Georges because he's really good, and then you have these awesome animations. So. The only bad thing about a Grail George is you basically have to level another George, because there are just situations where you want exactly a 3-turn taunt or something like that, and then a level 100 George is too tanky. Now, the reverse is true more though. Like, more times you'll actually happy to have a taunt that can keep going and like recast his first skill and things like that. So it's not like a Grail George is bad or something. It's just there are times where it doesn't make any sense. So. I've never worked at a restaurant, but I would not want to. Seems like a bad time. I could do it if I was a cook. I've done that kind of work before, but I've never like worked in like the restaurant side of things, and yeah, I don't want to. I guess I can taunt again. went on. I could actually stay alive again because of Constantine.
あまたの侵略あれど我らの侵攻にかなうものなしテオドシウス・コンスタンティノス
Trying to think, who am I giving full pause to now that 2 is complete? I think Mori. I know I was like really torn between Mori. I think I decided Mori just because I wanted to see the, LOL crits. But on the other hand, Billy can actually get to 120 if I wanted to at some point, so I don't know. Oh, I'm not saying working at a restaurant's not like it's not like it's a bad idea, and like in terms of making money, if you do a good job, you can make decent money in tips and that kind of thing. So it's not like it's a bad thing to do, and it can build character having to deal with assholes and things like that. So it can actually be really good for you, but it's not something I want to do at all. So I would try to avoid that.
これこそがアスカロンの真実。汝はリン、罪ありき、アスカロン。
Oh yeah, a lot of people have like when they go to a restaurant or whatever, they use that to like power. Very silly. Well, George did a good job. He lasted a really long time there. So close to having Constantine's NP. Wonder if he can face tank here with the gimmick they gave him. Let's find out. Let's see, big bonk. I wish there was an incentive for you to like try to kill as many as possible of the enemies, but there's none. Like it just doesn't matter. And not only that, you can't really have fun with it because you can't control the team very much. Because you have to bring, wow, he didn't think underestimating the Amazons there in terms of damage. Alright, well, time for Leonidas. But anyway, yeah, you have still a little control over the team. That is not much fun to be had. Oh yeah, Caligula is just fantastic. Like the voice acting. Man, if I would have kept going a few more turns, I'd have to actually get a bit meta. That's the thing. This concept's fine. Like having a stage where you just need to survive and like babysit a unit, that'd be all right. But it ends too soon. So you can beat it by just doing like George Mash or whatever, or just Mash probably. Yeah, that's not interesting enough. Where if you had to go long enough for it to like really, get some, you'd have to really try, then it wouldn't be so bad. Although maybe these last ones will be hard, because this one is level 90, so maybe it's gonna get nasty. Maybe I'm getting cocky here. I didn't look at how much bond it gave. Oh my god, I'm gonna look it up on the wiki. I'm never gonna remember. I'm so autopiloting these because they're really boring that. Let's see, they are worth 900 bond. That's okay. It's actually insanely good for the AP cost. Getting 900 bond off of 5 AP is insane. It's not necessarily worth using one of these, especially when you can't summon a support to give you the bond bonus. But honestly, I forget to use these so much that I know the month's about to end, so I should probably just use them. So fuck it. Just get Herc the bond while we can. If we get Mother Harlot in 6. There's no way we're getting Mother Harlot in 6.5. I mean, when have we ever gotten something from Arcade like that? Let alone that quickly. Right? I guess you never know, right? Because there's always a first time for everything, and they do new things all the time. So it's not like it's not possible, but I don't think any of the big bosses from Arcade are really ever coming to regular FGO, let alone just like boom boom like that. But it's more likely, because I've read the story with that stuff on Arcade. I think people are misunderstanding several things that have been said. There's a different beast that's like connected to all that kind of stuff. That's probably just gonna show up at some point. And then it's something like when those two show up, the actual beast that Arthur is chasing will show up, which is 666 most likely. So yeah, I think it's like basically Nero bullshit is like one half of this whatever beast, and there's another half of it, and when those two are both dealt with, I think then like 666 will show itself or something. Yeah, it's a convoluted mess. They're doing the whole LR thing again, right? Like with Kama and Tiara, right? They're doing that kind of shtick again, so there's some weird nonsense. But they were very specific, and I've already known this. Anyone that was like, hey, Looking Glass, god damn, that's a long ass 49 months. But anyone that's like been following Arthur's story and stuff, they've been very clear that that's not Mother Harlot, that's not the Nero nonsense. That's it's 666, so it's not that. And they were clear in Arcade that they just reinforced that's not the beast he's been chasing and whatnot. And I don't think the whole it's like LRSG. I think you're right. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing with the Nero stuff. It's really weird. Anyway, it's probably going to be a while before we see the 666 stuff. Although who knows? Maybe they'll keep all the other beast bullshit to Arcade, and we're just going to see 666 sometime soon. That'd be kind of interesting. But yeah, really, Arthur's role in Arcade was kind of just hinting at more of what they've been hinting at this entire time. So, still gone anywhere. Which honestly is kind of annoying. I don't think they planned this out very well. Like, they kind of hinted at all this Arthur stuff like 5 years ago now, and then they've only like updated it like twice in those 5 years, and it was kind of just vague hinting stuff. Wow, they are absolutely shredding our boy George. Okay, might have to take this a little bit more seriously. But I really need to get Constantine's NP then. Oh, I guess he can already get it right now. Okay, damage doesn't matter very much, but we'll still do this for the fun of it. I will break King. Actually, Arcade's format does allow for good storytelling. These don't do it. There's really nothing there's nothing you could do in a regular visual novel or FGO or anything like that you couldn't do in Arcade. And they keep it very brief. That's how FGO was in the early days too, though. And even now, FGO can get pretty silly. She doesn't really need an animation update, but she could use like an animation touch-up. A lot of her in-between frames are pretty janky. You could like smooth that out. I wish they would do that. There's a lot of characters that they don't really need animation updates. They could just use like some twinks. Like Kojiro. Kojiro's attacks look fine. His model looks fine. But again, it's kind of janky when he goes from one animation to another. It's very like sharp and sudden. So if they could just add some in between frames, it'd look a lot better. And same for Nero there. Hey, Duvampa, I haven't seen you in a while. What's up? Thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate it. All right. Also look at that nice normal name. Although it's still no capital on the different words, but All right, George is gonna fucking die. I could keep him alive with Constantine, but I should probably save that for Leonidas. Hey, Beastling. Oh yeah, Arcade's pretty lacking, which is kind of sucks because a lot of times Arcade has pretty interesting premises and some interesting characters and stuff. Like Medusa being in their version of Camelot. It's kind of neat, and obviously the Crusaders being there and all that. And you actually had like the Crusaders as trash mobs, and it looked really cool. But yeah, none of it's really fleshed out or actualized in a very meaningful way. No reason to guts now, but it's not gonna whiff, so I can just use it.
祖国の偉大なる壁了解した
And Constantine's got a hell of a deep voice, man.
あまたの侵略あれど我らの侵攻にかなうものなしテオドシウス・コンスタンティノス
So Jacques de Molay is much cooler in arcade. However, I legitimately like his minions more than him. I'm serious. Like the just generic soldiers in arcade, the Crusaders. I'm like, can we get those? By the way, Crusaders were involved in the attacking of Constantinople, which is what this Constantine like fought against. So that's kind of funny. Things going full circle. Let's see if Leonidas can handle another turn here.
了解した
Yeah, it was like that in Venice. I think it was Venice and Crusaders that attacked Constantinople. Okay. They kind of just debuff spam there, so that was kind of a freebie. Might as well do this. He's probably gonna die on this one because of the NPs. I could have actually been trying to stop their NPs, but I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm pretty sure if you have Necromancy and it keeps proccing, he'll keep giving you the attack up from his skill, his buff. So you can actually get, like, theoretically a ridiculous amount of damage out of Leonidas that way. You can also just use multiple stacks of guts and things like that. And he can taunt. Shame I didn't have, like, his NP right here, though. That'd be really good. Arthur and Constantine, how about that? Man, I can't wait to make an Arthur video. I've got some ideas for it. The hard part is just finding like the stages to enact my bloody massacre on for the video. Because it's gonna be one of the more like edited videos, so it's not just like gameplay. I don't really know a lot about that game, but it looked like just waifu spam, and it was just turn-based, so I wasn't super interested in it. But if it like if it has good boss fights, I'll probably try it, right? Like I'm a sucker for good boss fights. But a lot of mobile games and stuff like that don't have good boss fights, so I don't have high hopes for it. I'm more interested in like like more action combat stuff that's coming down the pipeline. Oh, Caesar. That's a fun one. Yeah, it's true. There could be some stuff in Lost Belt 6.5. I'll keep that in mind as I'm like making other videos and stuff, like for boss fights. I'll try to remember to grab some footage. I don't remember those being that big normally. I think they've been eating some spinach there. You know, if they really wanted to make this spicy, they could give the unit taunt that you're supposed to protect, so you gotta use like Mash and David and Fuma and stuff like that. Actually, Fuma really is good for these kind of stages, because it doesn't matter that they can attack 6 times if you have unlimited evade. Okay, George about to have a really bad time here. I mean, in terms of raw damage, Caesar does have the highest, not just Saber 3-star damage, I'm pretty sure it's just the highest NP 3-star damage, period. Assuming you land your buffs, but you can guarantee the buffs with the command code, and you can also guarantee the buffs if you're at lower health, so. No joke, and if he's Grailed, actually he beats most 5-stars. I'm not kidding, if Caesar is Grailed and all that stuff, even if the 5-stars are Grailed, because 3-stars gain more from Grails than 5-stars do, because they have more levels available to them. So if every unit in the entire game is Grailed to 100 and is 2k foed, you know, Caesar disproportionately catches up to the 5-stars, then like compared to how much the 5-stars get like ahead from where they were at 90. And he actually beats most 5-stars. Like, he's just nuts. So yeah, the quality is better. I'm struggling on my videos, so like my videos look better, but what's messing up my videos right now is bitrate. I've been experimenting by like, rendering a lot of stuff. But if your bitrate is too high for what's going on in the background, it'll actually look wrong. And obviously, if your bitrate is too low, it'll look blurry in motion. So for YouTube, I've been trying to experiment with like when I render a video what the bitrate needs to be. And from what I understand, it's like your bitrate needs to change based on how much is happening on the screen. Right? So if it's a video with like a really active background, or the camera moves quickly, or there's more particle effects than normal, I need to make the bitrate higher. And if like nothing's happening, you actually need to make it lower, because when there's an excess of bitrate, it can make it look blurry too. So I have not quite got it mastered on YouTube yet, but also there's this whole shtick where like YouTube has a compression for your bitrate, so there's certain like ways you can render a video that YouTube is just doing like, yeah, fuck you, and it'll look like ass. So it's not easy to get that right. Well, George tried. I could use the Switch Mysticode and switch out Constantine for someone that could help George live, like MASH or whatever. I mean, technically Constantine can help him live, but he doesn't have starting NP really, so not that good. I guess we just NP here. Yeah, YouTube is difficult to work with for like getting the best quality, especially out of a game like FGO. It's actually a lot easier if it's like a game like Elden Ring or whatever. Android does not make things simple. Anyway, back on that game people were asking me about. I don't know that much about it. I just know it's, mobile game, turn-based, and yeah, that's really it. I've seen a few of the character designs. Not enough to really have an opinion though, but because it's turn-based, I'm really not that interested, which is weird because I'm playing FGO right now, but FGO is kind of an exception because one, I like Fate a lot, and FGO really just does have good boss fights. I mean, it just does. So I'm normally not super interested in turn-based games, but if they're really good, I can be. It's not like I am like super against playing them or something. Alright, good turn for this. I know the Genshin developers are making a new game and put a trailer out for that is like more action-y than Genshin Impact is. And unlike their older games, that was also more action-y than Genshin is, it has males in it, so that's nice. So I'll keep an eye on that. But there's not enough known about it to, like, I don't know if it's going to be that good or not. Okay. Need to. Okay, that's kind of bad. We don't actually have good protection for Caesar here. I can taunt, but that's about it. I think we are about to win though. Alright, we'll do damage just because. We'll go boom, boom, boom. Well, Caesar not really having his buffs right now. Imagine failing at 80%. Not that he needed it to kill that thing, though. Huh. It's a nasty debuff. Okay, this is where it's going to get a wee bit ugly. Okay, none of them have an NP. I think we win this turn though, so as long as Caesar doesn't die right here, we're fine. This is the first time though that we've actually kind of ran out of steam, and then me putting Arthur on the team, which is clearly not helpful, is a bit of a problem, but I just want Arthur to get the bond, so. Man, if they made that kept going, I would have been a bit concerned there. Yeah, Bazette must be really funny here because you can just counter. I could do that. It's just I like getting the bond. Although I could cut George or whatever. Oh, that's the last one for now. I could do these, but I'm actually holding on to these because you might have enemies in them I could use for like video footage if I ever need to like do an NP clash or something like that. It's just a summon ticket, which is not that big of a deal. Oh yeah, Donzo. Yeah, Donzo's excellent. She's like Fuma, but you have 2 of them, so that's really good for that kind of stage. Wow, I have 24 of those now. That's quite a lot, actually. I don't have the QP to use them, though. I need to do QP farming. Quite behind on that. But let me take a peek at what we're looking at here. Yeah, I did indeed go with Mori. So this card's actually done, and then I think that I'm trying to. How much does that give you? So almost 2 cards will be done, which is really good for Mori because you can get his 2 Buster cards finished. But I'm gonna need a crap load of QP for that. Oh, the horror. Make sure I've done all of Oh man, Chad, I haven't bought my blue cubes. Oh no. Because the shop's getting ready to reset, so... Gonna check on this nonsense. Oh hey, did they add that as a... Is that just the, Oh, they did that because that's so dumb. I know why they did that. It's because the, those bonus stages require, require like the epilogue or whatever from that place. That's so silly. Buy those cubes for hard content? I think not. They should have done that right away though. I think them like saving that was kind of silly. Yeah, it shouldn't even been an event, to be honest. I want to see how much content they actually give you from this. I bet you not a lot. Well, I don't think they'll make you do this to do Lost Belt 6.5. I think you just have to do the epilogue, which you can do without doing this. Because you can do the epilogue by just doing Lost Belt 6. But if they let you do this like this main story of this, they should have just like this is stupid. They should have just done this initially. There's no reason to have made this a limited time event and then just like a month later slap it in the shop. Like that it's stupid. I'd rather they put it in the shop than not at all, obviously, but it just shows how badly designed this whole thing was. I'm assuming they're not gonna let you do the raids though, so it's not really gonna be that interesting. Well, Solomon is just part of the main story inherently. It's not part of like an event or anything. You don't have to main interlude it or any of that. Okay, there's very little gameplay to this event, and most of the gameplay is just you fighting the trash mobs, which are just whatever. So there's not really much to have here. You had to fight though with like Ivan and Surtur and stuff, which were they were alright. Nothing special though. I'm not gonna bother with this right now because these stages are really boring and there's I don't want to sit there fighting those stupid lizards with guns. That is such a disappointing thing, like making that an event. I just have no idea what they were thinking with that. Can you fight Veach again? Because that's probably the one I would keep. Well, actually no, I don't think I would keep that boss because that boss was just RNG, to be honest. Like, I really don't like that boss. I wish I did, because other than the RNG, the fight's fine. But you can have like a really good budget setup and have it fail because the RNG screws you over. Or you can have a really bad budget setup and have it win because the RNG doesn't screw you over. It's just stupid. Like that, it's really annoying when you have a boss that's almost good and then they just screw it up like that. Like, I have no idea why they thought that was a good gimmick to have. Oh god, I think, do you have to use Sherlock? Because the thing is, I have Sherlock, but he's not leveled. Wonder if they, I wonder if they allow you to use a support one or something. Yeah, they do. Cause yeah, mine sucks. Cause I don't, I would, normally it wouldn't matter because you couldn't do this stage unless your Sherlock was leveled. So it wouldn't be a problem. The thing is, because of the event right now, like, you can do interludes that you don't actually meet the requirement for, but I actually do have Sherlock, so he's just like level 5 or something. Well, you can do the epilogue from, okay, this is why it doesn't make any sense, is because it's main story that's not main story. So basically, when you beat Lost Belt 6, you can do the prologue to that event, which is just like a story segment. There's no gameplay, it's just, you just get the prologue. And for people that did the event, that prologue was part of it, right? But they made the prologue part of the main story, and then the event is not. And just boom, you skip over the entire event, and then you see the epilogue as main story as well, and that's it. So if you started playing FGO a month from now, or yesterday, or whenever, just after the event, when you beat Lost Belt 6, you'll see the prologue and the epilogue, and then once 6.5 is a thing, or if that's an event, then when Lost Belt 7 is a thing, you know, whatever's next. Yeah, because it's weird, because we don't actually have new main story after Lost Belt 6 yet. But anyway, whatever comes next, we'll just say Lost Belt 7. You'll beat Lost Belt 6, and then before you can do Lost Belt 7, it'll make you watch the prologue and the epilogue of that event, and then it'll take you to Lost Belt 7, right? And that's just the main story. And that's how it is right now. And then until recently, you couldn't even do the event again, but now they've got the event segment as the main interlude. But you don't have to do, I would presume you don't have to do the main interlude to progress. But I think they added it because the 6.5 and also the stories right now that give you those faux pas, they require you to have done the epilogue for the event to do them. So I think we just put the main interlude there for people that like want to see the story or whatever before, you know, 6.5. But we don't know what 6.5 is going to be. It might be an event story as well. It might be a side thing like Epic of Remnant. But it could be like 5.5, which was main story. Like 5.5, you must do it to get to the main story, no matter when you play. There's no consistency to it because you had like 4.5, which was just an event, and it's not even a main interlude or anything, and you don't get an epilogue and a prologue and shit like before and after like Lost Belt 3 or Lost Belt 5, right? Like 4.5 is completely self-contained within its event, and that event is not main interluded, right? So it's just forgotten to the wind, right? And then 5.5 is part of the main story, and then 6.5 we don't know yet. And then whatever the fuck you want to call that Veach event, you know, 6.1 or 6.2 or whatever the hell. Yeah, Constantine is like a pre-banner for 6.5. Like, what was it? Napoleon was a pre-banner for Lost Belt 2. And then there's also the Maze event, which is like 3.5. And that's also a completely self-contained event that you don't get an epilogue or a prologue for in the main story. And it's not a main interlude, although it probably should be one. Although I don't want it to be one because that event is crap, but... Well, I'll tell you what, I don't like that event, but if it gave us the challenge quest again, or the combo fight again, I'd at least be happy with that, because those are good boss fights. Actually, I think the Maze event challenge quest is extremely good. It's very hard, but it's like mostly hard in a completely fair way. And then the combo fight's pretty good too, and it's basically a challenge quest as well. The combo fight's way better than the Kiara fight. The Kiara fight sucks. Like, seriously, the Kiara fight is just trash because the super large, you know, mega-sized Kiara is just so boring. It's actually really easy, funnily enough. It's like the one they're trying to hype up as the super hard one, but it's really, really easy because it's so susceptible to just, you know, Merlin spam or a stereo spam, you know, the longevity loopy live forever kind of setup. And you kind of have to play it that way unless you have like a Leviathan team, and then it's just slow. I mean, you're just sitting there brain dead for like 30 turns, like who cares? And then you've got the mini Kiara with all of her buffs, right? You don't use any of the points to lower, get rid of the gimmicks or whatever. And then that one is nutsy bullshit hard and not even like a fun way, and just in a there's literally no way you could possibly do this with a normal team way. You must be a Leviathan setup. So there's nothing really fun about that. And then when you remove all of the bullshit, and then she's a normie boss, then she's kind of just easy. I mean, she's not like super easy because she still has like an okay attack stat, and she has like more health bars than normal, right? She's got like 4 health bars instead of 3. But it's nothing special, right? The regular Kiara is nothing really memorable. It's kind of just a thing. So I would much. What I'm getting at is Kama is way more interesting because if you do the minimum version of the Kama fight, it's still quite hard actually, right? And it's much harder than minimum Kiara. And then her maximum version is also total bullshit. But it's less boring than Kiara is, because maximum Kiara is just like easy and boring, where maximum Kama is bullshit, but at least not boring. And then you have like medium Kama, right, and 3/4 Kama and all that stuff, which is really, really hard, but then it's manageable by like budget setups and stuff. Then you can kind of pick your poison with that one, and it's pretty interesting no matter which one you go with. So I don't like Kama, but she's a good boss fight. Where Kiara is the first replayable boss in the entire game. Most bosses that like I can replay, you're not supposed to be able to replay, right? I just keep the stages around and I zeke the app before the stage completes, and I can just fight them whenever I want to. Kiara is the first, and other than I guess advanced quests, the only repeatable, major boss fight like that. That if you beat it, let the app finish, get the rewards from it, you can just do it again for fun, right? It's like the only one like that. Which is stupid because it's just not a very good boss fight. So out of all the boss fights and all of FGO's history, why is that the one they decided to make, replayable? Like, you have so many other options out there. But maybe Lasagna moving forward will do more with that kind of thing. I mean, if they made advanced quests replayable, and they originally weren't, so that's a good sign. Has anyone in my chat, has anyone completed the 6.5, or not 6.5, I guess 6.1, whatever, the Veach event? Has anyone done the main interlude to its completion? Like, do you get to, is the final stage, like, still available? Like, what happens? Like, do they do anything for it? That's pretty, I need to think about that, that story, though, which boss fight's worth keeping. Because I don't think it's Veach, unless it's the farming version of Veach, because that one was actually surprisingly interesting. But the main fight with Veach is really boring in my opinion, because, well, it's not boring, it's frustrating. That's probably the better way of putting it, because if you get screwed over, it's probably because your buffs failed when you needed them to succeed, right? I'm in no rush because I hated that event, fair enough. I mean, just because someone made a video means literally nothing. How can you possibly think that? Do you realize how many people make videos of boss fights? Like, Plushie makes videos of the Gajuna fight from the Canis' interlude all the time. That's not replayable. That doesn't mean anything. All content creators, myself included, do, stupid shit where we keep stages around and, just don't let them complete at the end. And we use them for videos, right? Like, that does not mean something is replayable. I mean, I know it ends with the fight. That's not what I'm asking. Why do I swear this is an example of you need something done right, you have to do it yourself. It was the same thing with CCC. I remember when I asked my chat, like, what happens if you clear the CCC made interlude, and I got like 30 different answers, which most of which were wrong. It's like, it's crazy, dude. I'll just have to do it myself at some point. I'll have to do it on an alt account though, because I may want to keep a boss fight that's not the last boss fight, because again, the last boss fight's not really one I care too much about replaying. Like, oh man, it's RNG if your buffs work or not. That's gonna make great content. Yeah, advanced quests are replayable. What's funny about advanced quests though, is it really does mark something unique from the development side of things. Because when they were added, they were not replayable. You could do them one time and they were just gone. And then people just were like, hey, it'd be nice if these were replayable, and they just patched it. Like, okay, yeah, they're replayable now. But that was Lasagna, not DW. So, you know, I don't know if DW even would have bothered. But we'll see. So maybe moving forward, we're gonna get more changes like that. They lost.
海にレムリア空にハイヤだそして地にはこの私
Yeah, they actually did it pretty quickly after taking over. I really wish you could at least replay the main, like the major bosses from the main story. They don't have to let us replay all the dumb trash stages that most people aren't going to care about, but it'd be nice if they had some kind of UI for that. I like how Sherlock is doing nothing and Helena is doing everything here. Although nice crits there, champ. There you go. Still not enough though. I wonder if anyone's ever lost one of these stages that you're supposed to just like auto win with a preset team because the AI just got unbelievably lucky and like crit every single action and never cast a skill, and then like maybe they didn't play particularly well and they never crit. There are some interludes and such though that you actually can lose just because they're kind of hard in terms of like how they balance it. Like Mordred versus Enkidu, you can actually lose that with bad RNG. And like not like super bad RNG, just like kind of bad RNG. You know, Hawaiian Shirt Coup could be added at any time. That's the thing. Like any summer anyway. I mean, if they could add it actually not connected to summer, but you know, summer is kind of an obvious time. Oh great, he has to be in the front row. I'm so happy. Time to chin. You know, I'm just gonna chin gong him. I don't even care. Fuck you, game. You can't control me. In before, this is one of those stages you lose if the unit dies, but those are pretty rare, so I doubt that's the case. Who shall we actually use then? I could do level 1 Shin Gong if I want a solo or something. It'd be nice if they would buff Lancer Deer mid. That would be pretty swell. Maybe someday. They haven't done a round of buffs in a little while, so it could happen. Probably not though before 6.5. I think 6.5 is really soon, so. You know what? Let's have Ku versus some sabers. Let me give him a command code though real quick. I don't really like Sherlock, and then I hate when they put story supports on you, so pretty easy call here. I like Sherlock in terms of like the actual stories of Sherlock Holmes, but I don't really like the way he's done in FGO very much. And as time has gone on, my feelings about that have just grown stronger. Moriarty's much better. I gave Ku the Yangtze the other day. I'll do it when it's like a stupidly hard like stage to solo or whatever, like if you're doing something that, you know, is like not reasonable to solo, but I think Ku can do it with it, then, you know, I would use it, but no, honestly, he doesn't use Atlas much these days. So crazy that's happened, but yeah, default has kind of become his best. I haven't had any Ku copies in a while. I haven't rolled in a while, so. I actually did get one Ku copy though, like last week from FP Summon, which was nice. But it wasn't enough to grail him again. It's only 15 coins, so I have to get another one. Oh fuck, I don't have the. Oh my god. I forgot. That's my ult account that has it at rank 10. So he gets 100%. I just wasted 21 AP by the way, because of that. Used to my ult account. The thing is, my main account doesn't actually need it because I can just use MLB K-Scope. It's just I like to avoid using it when I can. Yeah, on this account, it's the level 65 Chin Gong that has the passive at max. Sherlock isn't bad. The level, he's a good utility pick every once in a while because sometimes there's a boss fight that is very much about like the boss having invulnerability or defense up or something, and then Sherlock is a really nice option for getting around that. But he's never necessary. I've never seen a single fight where he's actually necessary. I've just seen fights where he'll make it a lot easier. Like Ibuki is an example, right? He will make the Ibuki fight a lot easier, especially if you happen to not have a good unit with Pierce and Vulnerability, or you don't have the craft essences that have Pierce and Vulnerability, and you don't want to use the rare prisms to buy that Attila craft essence that has Pierce and Vulnerability, right? So if you just have Sherlock, you just have an easy way of dealing with that and not having to deal with like the bells and whistles and whatnot. So yeah, he's handy. He's not like super meta or anything. He's just like a niche thing that occasionally is incredibly powerful, but normally is just kind of whatever. It kind of just comes down to if you like him or not. But hey, I think the Sherlock guy's pretty cool. Then yeah, you might as well level him, and but I wouldn't rush it. Like I don't actively use him ever on any of my accounts. I honestly only use him to just kind of stay in the know of how useful he is. So I just summon like friends Sherlocks from time to time, and kind of experiment with how useful he is for things like Ibuki or whatever. Oh no, we have Starjin down. I'm actually gonna remove that just to screw the stage. Want my stars, thank you. Wonder how many stars we're gonna make right there. We crit some. And 22, not that bad for just 2 quick cards. Now the nice thing about the command codes, you can kind of brute force it. Alright. I'm actually gonna kill... Actually, I think I'm gonna NP... Yeah, I'm gonna NP Babbage here. Because I think I can one-shot him. Because, Ku's pretty good even at neutral there. And then we'll kill Frankenstein with like our normal attacks next turn, and then we can just focus everything on... Wow, I can't believe Ku just did that much damage with his quick cards to a Saber. Our stats are just out of control these days. Like 120 is already... Well, we're not 120 yet, but we're getting there. 120 is just really high stats no matter what, and then... Ku's got his attack buff and an abnormally high attack stat for a Lancer 1 to 3 star. And then Ku's toolkit is nutty, so he's starting to get kind of wild. Order doing some damage there though. Wears off pretty soon. Probably don't want to PFA. I can quick and kill, but I might be able to kill without. But I'm gonna quick just so I get the stars. Oh crud! I don't do 33k to a Saber. Don't. How are you gonna just do 65k to a Saber? I wanted the other stars. That was not worth it. I just drained my NP and made 1 NP regain and 1 star, by the way. It's because we were low on health, so our damage was kind of nuts. Okay, sorry, Hyde. We gotta go, bud. Just swap those Buster cards around, but I don't think it'll matter. Yeah, it's not gonna matter. What the fuck, dude? I probably didn't even need to do that attack. Of course I didn't. He's a Berserker. Oh, shit, though. Look at them with the gimmicks. Nice try, old man. We've got guts, though. This is such a cool NP, though. Look at that. That is so awesome. I didn't even know this was Moriarty, but I have killed Moriarty so many times with Ku over the years, because Moriarty has been in so many challenge clips. Like 4 or 5 or some nonsense. And he's been like, an Epic of Remnant as well, when he's like the final boss there. So it's actually better to do this evade first, that way you don't have like a random hit lingering. Although I have a feeling I'm going to one-turn him. We'll see. I don't have the attack up. And he's an archer, not a berserker. No, he's dead. Look at that, I still had evade, and then I had other evade, and then Guts was gonna come back, and then I get my damage up again. It's all very balanced, chat. Okay, that's ear cancer. I really like Moriarty's story. That's like, it sucks because everything, he's like connected to the main story, but in a way that's like self-contained, which just sucks. I wish they would use it in the main story. But basically, he knows, you know, Sherlock is super sus, and he's like warning us about him, and they're kind of leading up to like Sherlock portraying us for, in his eyes, the greater good, and then Moriarty saving us, but being evil, right, essentially. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see where that goes. But I would love for them to, because it's been in like interludes and stuff, I would like for them to actually have it, you know, manifest in the main story, but I don't know if they ever will. It might always be like a side thing. Alright, the Dion stage we got legit, and that we're keeping that one. Boy, I tell you though, let's see, how much SQ would I get if I did all of these? So 2, 4, 6, 8, and they're not actually leveled up or anything, so they're not gonna happen, but that's 8 SQ right there. But I mean, 8 SQ, ultimately it's not that big of a deal. Alright, let's see, what do we need to do here? I do technically need to do this, it's 5 arrows, chat. Like, why is this 5 arrows? But there's no point in leveling him if I'm not gonna do his strengthening quest, so we'll just try to knock this out real quick. Grab some bond while we're at it. Yeah, just 100 AP is all, totally reasonable. Alright, how's Hercules looking here? Not good. Okay, he's kind of getting there. Mash is finished. She's maxed out, so I don't need to bring her anymore. I'd like to bring Mordred, but I don't think I have the team cost for that. Yeah, because she's really close to bond 12. I guess there's Hans. I really do want to get Hans as bond CE. Almost bond 8, so I'm just gonna use these up, get them out of here. The month is coming to an end. I mean, 8 SQ adds up, like absolutely. It's not like it's not. If anything, 8 SQ gets more for you now than it used to because you've got the safety net and you've got the 11 summon instead of the 10 summon and all that kind of stuff. So. Like, 8 SQ is certainly nice, but it's just not, I'm not rolling right now, so who cares? But hey, if I ever do need to roll, I can get that Mordred bond 12, get that 30 SQ right there. I know I've got a few characters that are almost like bond 7 and bond 8 and things like that, so I got a few lying around. Charlemagne, I'm a bit more positive about him than neutral, but not by a lot, so I'm kind of whatever. I might throw a couple summon tickets at him to see if I get lucky, but I don't really care too much. I'd be happy enough to just use him through the support system. However, if he's rated up in any kind of way that would increase my odds of getting coup, like it's males only, or for some reason it's lancers only, or coup's actually rated up, or you know, whatever, I don't think that's very likely, but if for whatever reason that happened, then I would roll, because yeah, I really just want to get coup finished already. But I got a long way to go, because I need 3 more coup copies to get to 120, and then I need a crap load to get his second passive, so I'm not really that close to being done. We don't have a confirmation that Charlemagne's in 6.5. It just seems ridiculously likely when you look at the fact that Roland is getting added, and one of the they did a character preview where they showed like the outlines, like the silhouettes of the characters, and one of the silhouettes it's not. It could be someone else, right? It could just be a new character that happens to have a similar design, silhouette-wise, but it does look super likely because he's got like the same hair, the same kind of like crowl, and then he's got a sword on his side. That's the big thing, because like just having a crowl and like anime protagonist hair doesn't mean a lot. Like that really doesn't. Like it could just be a brand new character. But he's got like the same kind of sword on his side and that kind of stuff. And Roland's getting added, so it seems incredibly likely. Now Roland is confirmed essentially like 99.999 because we've seen his silhouette before, right? It was in Astolfo's interlude, and it is the exact same outline in the silhouette thing that they're showing. So Roland is just basically guaranteed. The only way it's not Roland is if it's like some, like person that's pretending to be Roland, and they gave him the same outline on purpose, and it's like, but it's Roland, but he has green hair, right? It's alien Roland, right? That's like the only way we're not getting Roland, and that's incredibly unlikely. So that I'm not saying 100% because it's not confirmed until it's confirmed, but yeah, Roland is almost assuredly getting in, and then Charlemagne is nearly as sure, I would say, but not quite as much. And there seems to be some I don't know, like person in a dress with a giant sword or something. It's kind of hard to tell what is going on with that character, but it's probably just a brand new one. And I think there was one other silhouette, but there's not much information on that one, so. But who knows? Because, like, for example, I don't mind Charlemagne, right? So if I got him, I wouldn't be upset. And let's say Charlemagne has really interesting gameplay, then that might get me to roll on him, especially because I could get coup while I'm at it. And then even more so if there happens to be like a 4-star, because 4-stars are kind of easy to get. So if like the 4-star's got cool gameplay or is a cool character or whatever, like if it's Roland and Roland turns out to be like, a really interesting gameplay unit, then I might roll. You never know. So never say never, but I'm not like planning on rolling. But honestly, a lot of times you're not gonna know how interested you are in something until you actually see it in the game and see its animations, the voice acting, the gameplay. And who knows? I mean, maybe Roland's going to be a 3-star, then I'm definitely rolling because I want to get all the 3-stars. So yeah. If there is any 3-star, even if the person in a dress is a 3-star, I'll roll on that because if they're a 3-star, I want to get them. So. I hope a 3-star gets added between 6.5 and Lost Belt 7, but I feel like Lost Belt 7 would be more likely to do it than 6.5. But you never know. It could happen. I hope so. I'm interested in when Fate Lost gets put out, and then like how long it'll take for us to get units from that, because I like the Norse stuff. If we get like Ragnar and stuff, that'd be cool. This gives less bond in those other stages, but I'm just gonna use the plots anyway. Some bond is better than none at all. Also, please stop putting up the assassin tab. You can actually tell it not to do that in the options menu somewhere. We really should use Saber Gilius against Hector, but it's not going to work. I mean, good luck. I mean, you could get him to do 1,000,000 damage or more with like Merlin and stuff, but it'd be a pain. Fate Strange Fake units are going to get added though, and the creators and stuff have pretty much said that. It's just they want Fate Strange Fake to finish. Here's the thing though, like years and years ago, they said they would do Fate Strange Fake once once the books are finished. They're all done. But that was a long time ago, and Fate's a lot more popular now, and things like that. I really think we probably will get some, not most, definitely not most, not even a lot. But I do think we will get some Fate Strange Fate characters early. How early is hard to say. But and why I think that is because there's more like pressure on them to do that. There's a lot more money involved, and also the writer of Fate Strange Fate actually writes for FGO now occasionally, not often, but he does occasionally. So it wouldn't shock me if, like, after, you know, a certain book, maybe the book that just came out or the next one or whatever, there are certain characters that he's like, okay, they're pretty much done, and, you know, there's no spoilers left. So we could put that in FGO, and if he writes it, you know, he'll make sure it's not gonna, you know, spoil anything or fuck with anything. So it wouldn't shock me if we get a couple of characters early, just because there's so much demand for it. And like they'll see that as a good compromise, like a middle ground, and it'll kind of like say, you know, it'll keep people from going nuts, right? I'll put it that way. So it'll buy them time, if you will. Wouldn't shock me if Jack is actually one of them. It could happen. We'll see. Really depends on how like the next book goes. But yeah, ultimately, I want the whole damn cast. Well, not Avenger Hercules, but... Well, actually, I wouldn't hate them adding Avenger Hercules so I can fucking murder him. I'll enjoy that. Gotta get my regular Herc up to like 90 Bond 10 by then. Gotta have the lad ready. Dude, Avenger Hercules is so lame. It's like, just what the hell, dude? I'd have been at that point, I'd have been happier if they just hadn't used Hercules at all. Because what I don't like is, like, the writer even said the reason they did that was because he didn't feel comfortable writing, like, normal, sane Archer Hercules, and he thought Nasu should do it. That's fine. Why is this bush flying? Why is this bush flying? What's going on here? 10 out of 10 graphics, by the way. Not an old map or anything. Anyway, so it's fine if he feels that way and he doesn't want to write, he doesn't feel like he should write Hercules, that's fine. But then just don't you put Hercules in the story at all, right? Like at that point, it's so silly to be like, I don't think I should write this thing, so I'm gonna put that thing in my story and then just fan fiction warp it. Like, don't do that, right? Like, I really think it takes away from the rest of the story. It's not great. Like, the two things that really stand out to me in Fate Strange Fake is being a bit out of place and kind of forced, and I just don't like it. It feels very fan-fiction-y, so it feels like kind of, you know, low quality. Is Avenger Hercules and then Ishtar. Now, Ishtar started fine, but she's gotten kind of dumb in, like, the role that she's playing, and the writer even said he had no intentions of using Ishtar in any major capacity in Fate Strange Fake. She was supposed to play a fairly minor role, and you can tell. And then all of a sudden, because he liked Ishtar in FGO, he decided to make her role way more prominent. And like that's not a good idea, right? You need to have your beginning, middle, and end in mind from the beginning, and then kind of just changing halfway through like that, I don't think is going to result in natural plot development, if you will, so I'm not a huge fan of that. There's some stuff with Ishtar in the recent book that came out that I'm like, that's kind of stupid. Like, it just feels really silly. Okay, how much damage can I actually do here? We'll go boom, boom, boom. I mean, we'll do a lot. The quick attack might actually kill him. I don't know about that. It'll be close, but that's a lot of health on neutral. They're not gonna add. I mean, I'm not gonna complain if we get sane regular ass Hercules, but there's no way they're gonna do that with Avenger Hercules. It just doesn't make. You couldn't do it with that character. It doesn't make sense. Like it's not like Nobu, like at all. It's so different. Also, the whole them like playing Sane Hercules is lava, right? Right, that whole game they're playing, that's not gonna change by the time the add Avenger, you know, Hercules. But that, because like essentially having regular Hercules with Avenger Hercules would be like adding Artoria as Lily as stage 1, Artoria as stage 2, and then Saber Alter as stage 3. That doesn't make any sense, and they don't ever do that, right? Like, that would just be stupid. You know, it's not the same thing as, like, you know, what you have with even Nobu or Romulus or any of that. So, yeah, I don't see that happening. And you couldn't do the characters justice that way anyway. I might not like Avenger Hercules, but if you are going to add him, you should add him properly, and his abilities in the game should, you know, make sense, right? And so he should be done properly. And then same though for regular archer or saber or rider or assassin, you know, Hercules, all the normal Hercules. You know, their toolkits should be their toolkits, and their toolkits are incredibly different. Right, him getting altered changes his toolkit, you know, dramatically into utter fan fiction, by the way. But you know, he loses God Hand, he loses, you know, a lot of his normal stuff, but then he gains a bunch of stuff from before, you know, he was divine and all that kind of stuff. So their abilities and toolkits and stuff are so different, you can't really put them in the same unit. Although you got weird units like the Lolly Dragon, right, where she can change her NP. So you could have a unit that has a different toolkit if they're in stage 1 or stage 2 or stage 3. They're not going to, I don't think, but you could technically do that. So, but yeah, I would really prefer they not do that. And I really, really don't think they would. It just doesn't fit. The thing about Valkyrie, though, is first off, their Saint Graphs are still connected. And second off, their toolkits are exactly the same. And they're supposed to be exactly the same. I mean, like, Nobu is a weird thing that they did, but first off, they'd already added regular Nobu. And they had like an entire event dedicated to all that nonsense, so. I know there's a claim all button. It's almost like I've told my chat that like 30 times. Like, oh my god, there's 2 things to claim. If I don't click the claim all button, I might be losing like a millisecond of time. Although moving your mouse over to the claim all button probably takes up that millisecond of time. So it literally makes no difference. Like, claim all is for when there's like 9 things, or in my old account's case, like, it was like 83 things, right? That's what claim all is for. I don't give a fuck if I click claim all or not when there's like 2 or 3 things on the screen. Like, oh man. All that pressing FGO content I have to get to, chat. If I, you know, I just wasted like maybe half a second of time so I could go do Saber Gilius's strengthening quest faster, because that's such riveting content that if the stream missed out even a second of that, that'd be highway robbery. See, now I'm just gonna intentionally not click claim all because fuck you, and it literally doesn't matter, and it also doesn't work between tabs anyway. Oh hey, we actually got 10 SQ from beating 130 of those. That's awesome. But between that and then also the SQ we can get from our fragments here, which I still love how you can't click this. You have to go to like this tab. No, not that one. Okay, it's gotta be this tab specifically. That makes no sense, by the way. Like, there's nothing even about the menu that it takes you to that would be like a problem if you went to this menu, you know, from any of those other tabs, right? It makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, we have that SQ. We've got technically those other interludes, but I don't really want to beat those. And then we got the 30 SQ from Mordred and a couple of SQ for some other units that are about to bond up. Okay, let's see. I kind of want to try to solo Hector with something that's not Ku and not a Saber. I guess not Scath, because we tried Scath the other day. And although she lost, and I tried again off stream and she lost again, I think she can win. You just need to get lucky a bit. But it's because Scath doesn't get her 3rd skill bonus. So she can't like nuke as fast as you would like. And Hector just kills her. Like, because her MP gain is bad. You can't stun him that much. And then Hector can kill her really, really quickly. So there's Bizet, who I'm pretty confident will lose. but it might be interesting to try that. There is obviously Enkidu. That's actually an interesting one, because he's not Grailed either. We'll actually try him for sure, but I'm not sure we'll do him next. We'll see. Billy will get fucking annihilated, obviously, because he's an archer. Canis has already done it, although it was close. Mordred will get destroyed, although we might try it just because. Sigurd could be interesting. Sanson will get destroyed. Siegfried would be fun if we used him in the same way we use Sigurd. He's not going to solo it, though. Like, definitely not. Oh, wait, no, wait, he's counterclassing. Okay, he actually might solo it then, but that's kind of cheating. Caster Gilius. Gramps would be great. The problem is, I don't want to unlock his command codes, and I don't. Mine is like 666. Yeah, Percival. There's one. And yeah, I don't want to use the QP on Gramps right now, but I should finish up my Gramps and get him to 10-10, and it would be fun to use him there. He might struggle at NP1 in that fight though, but if he wins, it'd be really impressive if he did it at NP1. There's Jolter. She's still though 2-10-2. Let's do Percival. I think he'll lose, but that's a fun one. The problem with Percival is he's going to get a lot of people will get screwed up by the invulnerability gimmick here, but, well, no, he's got Pierce invulnerability. It'll just mess him up on the turns that he doesn't NP. Is it I'm trying to think then, is it worth it to bring a Pierce invulnerability? It probably is. It depends, though, on what okay, hold on, I'll look at, I'll put on what I know I absolutely have to put on, and then we'll see what we're, like, left with. So heal boost on Art is super standard on Percival. The other Art card, I don't know. Heal on Buster is really good. Not actually like a must, but it's pretty good. The quick card doesn't really matter. I'll probably just give it Merlin in case I need it. Well, no. Early on, you're just getting rid of the shields. Well, what's going to be on the other Art card, then? You could do Merlin, but it only kicks in, like, every other time. A lot of times the timing won't work out. There's Star Bomb. That could be good. Still really random, but over a long fight, the extra 4 stars every turn will generally result in an extra crit or 2, which is good. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm sure Joan of Arc can solo it. I'm very confident in that, but you will pay a heavy price. Although, that John guy in our friends list, he actually probably wouldn't pay that heavy of a price. His Joan of Arc is so strong that I bet you he can actually, like, take it out pretty quick. Alright, I think we do Pierce invulnerability. We may not use this a lot, but the only other option is just, like, damage or Star Bomb or something. I guess I'll do this in an emergency where I need to heal as soon as possible or I'm going to die. So you do Art, Quick Art or something. Alright. This Hector stage is awesome. I just wish you could use supports once you've beaten it once. I'm all for having to beat them on your own without help. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But once you've beaten it, you should, not forced, but you should have the option to bring supports. I really, I don't see why not. And that would just give you such a fun playground. Alright, Percival. Wait, he's level 90, because I grailed him. Because I have taste. Unfortunately, my Formal Craft is not super leveled. Even though it's limit broken. Where is it? It's probably the one I'll work on. It's is that worth it? 1,000 attack versus 2,000 attack and 15%. It's just the starting NP. This is one of those rare stages where starting NP is not particularly useful, and the extra gain on this would be nice. What are our other options? I mean, there's Guts. That's not terrible. I mean, of course, it's too easy with Achilles. Like, he doesn't get extra buffs. He gets extra buffs and he becomes a saber. Like, there's a reason we don't use sabers here. It's a joke. Like, you're literally cutting the boss's health and damage in half. And that's fine when you're doing, like, a challenge quest or, like, a really hard main story fight. like chat, if you're gonna try to solo Fluffy, if you could cut Fluffy's stats in half, it's still gonna be a problem, right? Like if you're a foreigner. But these fights aren't half as hard as that. So it's like there's no difficulty if you use a saber. It's actually more surprising if you lose this with a saber than if you beat it. Shoutouts to Jason, because he might actually be able to lose this stage. We should try that later. Well, a 60 Jason would definitely lose. A Grailed one might be able to win. But he actually might still fail. So this, or Formal Craft. Let's try Formal Craft, and we'll see if the 30% actually results in like enough oomph. Trying to think, are there any other sabers that might fail this? If they're not Grailed, actually, yes. Like Gilius and Caesar would have a problem because Caesar just has no survivability, so he couldn't wait out. Like Caesar could pretty much one-turn Hector once you get through the thing. I mean, he could probably do it then. You could always do a Guts CE or something, and then your Mystic Code, and then you could pretty much 1 or 2 turn him, even at 70. Like, it's just 500k. That's just nothing at counterclass. Bedivere could probably do it because also comparable damage and has a little bit of survivability. Fergus can definitely do it. That's not a problem at all. And then Gilius probably can do it because it's not actually hard for Gilius to do 500k at counterclass. You just need to like have the command code to remove the defense down and that kind of thing. Okay, so he's a Lancer. So I guess I can just use regular taunts. I don't remember doing anything funky with my taunts here. Pretty sure Hector just kills him like 1-2, no problem. Yeah, stage has to, okay, I explained this last stream, but I gotta bring this up a lot because a lot of people just don't get it and they're not here every stream. Like, if you're fighting content that's kind of medium difficulty or easy difficulty, right, it's not that hard content, and to mimic, because this is what I think people miss. The reason why you'll fight like a stage like this at class neutral is to like test units in it like they were fighting something hard, right? So if you fight Hector and you're class neutral, that's a lot more like fighting a real boss when you are counterclassing them, right? Because a real boss is kind of scaled with, you know, the counterclass stuff in mind. Now there's some exceptions to that, but that's why you do it. Because when you do fight like a big bad challenge quest, or you fight like you know, Morgan in the main story or whatever, you know, they're scaled so much higher than this content that even if you are counterclassing them, you know, well, Morgan's not a good example because she's a berserker, but you get what I mean. You know, what's his name? You know, Dog Juna, right? Even though he's not the world's hardest boss, he still has really high damage, and he's got like, you know, way more health and stuff than Hector does, right? It's not even close. And so, you know, you're going to fight him with a rider because Dog Juna is a caster. I can't find, what the fuck, do I not have, what is going on here? I can't find Kimlan. I can find that one, but that's the really high level one. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, to kind of like mimic fighting a real boss like Dog Juna, or, you know, what was his name? Well, no, he was a ruler. I'm failing to remember challenge quests against a single class, but well, you kind of had like a half ruler on Odysseus. I couldn't remember Odysseus's name to save my life there because he's not like Odysseus in any way. So I was thinking like Robot Man. Anyway, yeah, when you fight, you know, challenge quests, main story fights, you know, they're statted so much higher than these bosses. But when you do fight these bosses at neutral, then they're actually really similar to those bosses, right? Because essentially, I'm doubling Hector's attack stat, I'm doubling his health. So he's got, you know, 500k health, not quite, but basically 500k health. And so I'm basically giving him 1,000,000 health now instead of 500k because I'm doing this, right? And I'm making his attack stat double. And then he does have his gimmicks, right, with the invulnerability and that kind of stuff. But any boss has their gimmicks like that you'd have to deal with. And normally actually probably harder gimmicks than what Hector has here. Although the invulnerability thing is nasty if you don't have the command code and such. But yeah, that's pretty much, you know, why. There's no, when the content's not actually that hard, if you want to size up units and see if they're working, it doesn't mean anything if you beat this with a saber. That doesn't tell you anything about the saber. Like, I mean it, it doesn't. Like yes, Masashi can solo this, as can Okita and Sitting Master and Bob and Fergus and probably 70 Bedivere and Caesar, right? So what you didn't learn anything, right? Like, wow, you beat it with a saber like every other saber. Where when you do it at neutral, because the boss becomes so much harder, now it's like, okay, this actually shows something, right? Like if they're able to solo it, and when most units can't solo it, it's noteworthy, right? Then you can see their value matters, right? A lot of sabers can beat this stage so quickly that if they do an abnormal amount of damage, you're not even going to notice because the fight's already over, right? Where at neutral, because the boss has so much more health, you have enough time to like actually see how much damage the unit does in the long run, right? Like how much are they actually doing? Or if their damage isn't so good, but do they have good survivability? Or is it a mix of the two? Or do they have some crazy utility where Hector stops ever critting, or ever, you have so much attack down, he doesn't do damage anymore, right? You can actually see those things. You're not going to see that with sabers because the fight's just over so quick. Where if you actually wanted to test a saber, then you fight something that's not a lancer, or you use a saber in an actual stage. Like what's a lancer fight from like the main story or a challenge quest that was hard? There's not a lot, because I've noticed this. They don't actually make a lot of really big bad lancer fights for some reason. They don't have like their equivalent of like Fluffy for Berserker. You've got Gwaine doesn't really work for saber. It does early on, but like later on, there's way harder. I guess you've got Sitting Master though, and Epic of Remnant. Epic of Remnant's got some good ones. You've got Assassin's got the snake. What's her face? Surtur. That's something, I guess. I mean, Surtur, if you fought Surtur at neutral, he would be so much harder than Hector, right? So, that's kind of the middle ground. He's not too hard, though, if you're counterclassing him. But that is a good example, though. I mean, Surtur, if you fought at class neutral, like we're doing right now, would be ridiculously hard, unless you had a niche or something, like Anti-Supergiant or whatever. Okay, so no point in doing damage right now, though we do want to do Pierce and Vulnerability. I guess I do this. Hector would actually... I could have waited a turn. Yeah, I could have waited a turn. Hector actually, though, would be a very, very nasty boss if his gimmicks were just dialed up a bit. Like, if his damage cut was like 30 hits instead of 15, and then like his health drain was a bit higher than it is, and then if his health was like 1,000,000 instead of 500k, then he'd be like a real boss, and you would want to counterclass him. And like, absolutely. But yeah, they didn't go that far with it, so... Like in NP right now, not much purpose to doing that though. I guess I wish I had done a Star Bomb on quick, now that I think about it. For these turns I might as well just, wait, did I use the Piercing Vulnerability there? I hope I did, because otherwise I didn't get off the damage cut. Ooh. Okay, I want to NP here just for the health. Unfortunately, he still has 2 hits. I could technically ping that off, but I don't think it's worth it. Well, I kind of want to attack 1 time first anyway, because of the heal boost. Okay, I'm gonna save my first skill just because I don't I think the damage is nice, but it's not that nice, so I'll save the battery. Yeah, we get double heal boost, so we should go back to full. Yeah, I get a lot of the big bag single class fights I can think of actually do end up being Cavalry class. Oh, I know one. Ibuki. There we go. Ibuki may not be the hardest thing ever, but Ibuki was a pretty legit saber fight. That's definitely way above like even Surtur, I would say. Like that was pretty legit hard fight. Wow, Hector almost instantly killed us because of that crit. So here's my example though, right? So Ku is a Lancer, Percival is a Lancer. If this boss was an Archer, they would both win. Because Percival would be taking so much less damage, and he would win so much faster, that Percival would beat this if this boss was an Archer, and pretty easily. He would win very easily. And Ku would also beat it ridiculously easily. Ku would beat it in like two big damage turns and it's over. So you wouldn't even see any difference. where now that it's at neutral, we're seeing a huge difference, right? Ku can beat this stage, although I had to play properly and like, you know, figure it out, but he can beat it with actually an extra turn of survivability, where it looks like Percival probably can't beat it at all, right? Now, we're getting kind of bad luck with that crit and everything, but, you know, it's not looking so good for us. And we're not looping too, so... Do I have to do invulnerability here? I think I do. That kind of sucks. Well, I should heal boost. I guess screw the invulnerability. So I can heal boost, heal, and then gain. Or I could do that. Okay, we'll do the buster. We'll try to get our NP from being attacked. Yeah, what's happening on screen right now is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, Percival's losing, but if it was an archer, he'd win, and really easily. And then if it was an archer, Ku would also win. So it's like, oh, they're the same, but they're not, right? Like, and I know I obviously already knew they weren't the same because I've played them both a lot. Like, Ku is much better in raw value for this kind of thing. That doesn't mean Percival is shit though, because Percival has a lot more going for him than just his straightforward survival and damage, right? He's got utility for the team and being able to heal them, or just taunting, right? Taunting is a very useful thing in a team setting. I mean, Percival is an incredibly good unit. But in terms of his raw, kill that thing or live long enough, you know, he's not as good as Ku. Like, absolutely not. But he makes up for that in other areas. But yeah, in straight value, right, in raw survivability to damage ratio, he is absolutely inferior. The boss is not going to NP here, because we can drain his NP this turn. And I can heal, but I might need to do my third skill. The thing is, if I do my third skill, he's going to NP next turn, and I won't have anything. Because if I could double heal here, and I would be safe, but, I think I have to do that, and hope I live, and then can use it next turn. But it's pretty likely that I die here. Well, we got wrecked. This is actually pretty hard to solo at neutral, like, for real. I knew it would be. The second I did this with Ku, and because Ku had to actually try, I had to actually apply myself, I knew that meant it was a really hard stage at neutral. If Ku has to work, and a lot of other units just aren't going to be able to do it. Don't do it, Hector. Hector, no! Ooh. Okay, good thing that can't kill you. Now, I've missed a lot of my heal boosts on my heals, though. I can double boost my next NP, but that's the best I can do. Oh, fuck, no, we're dead. I don't have a filler buff like Ku does. Ku has a defense up that will eat the buff removal, and you still have your evade, or you have guts, which can't be removed. But Percival doesn't have a filler buff like that, so yeah, he just removed our vulnerability. Well, we had a bad time. He's packing heat, yeah. Yeah, Ku is so safe here because he's got the defense up that is applied after PFA, and so Hector removes the defense buff. And you can just not use PFA and use Guts, and then Guts just doesn't get removed because it's not considered a defense buff, so. No, invulnerability matters, it's just you need to have another buff so it doesn't get removed, or use the invulnerability for a normal attack. Like, all defense buffs are still good here, they just have to be used differently. Because the boss doesn't remove all defense buffs, he just removes the latest one. And also, if you can't use it on the NP, you can always use it on a normal attack. And his normal attacks do so much damage. So Percival would probably do better with Guts. I think I could get farther than that if I used a Guts CE. He's not going to win, like absolutely not, but he could get farther. I would love to try Billy here, because Billy is he's not nearly as good as Ku. But unfortunately it's a Lancer, so archers are right out. Okay, let's use Enkidu. I'm actually really curious about this. I wish my Enkidu was 100, because I feel like an 100 5-star is pretty comparable to like a 120 3-star stat-wise. Yeah, I think it is. I really think it is. They might be a little ahead, or let me see. Do I have a good example for that? I guess Mordred would be my closest. Now she's more than 100 though. She's 102k foe, I think. I mean, no, yeah, she's 1.5. Okay, well, it's you get the idea. Let's see here. I don't really need to clear the whole thing. Let me just okay, no CE. Now he's not 120 yet though, so that about makes up for her 500 attack. Not quite. The 500 attack is still a little bit better, but once he's 120, this is kind of the stat comparison that it'd be to a level 100. Because a lot of people are 100, but not 2k foed, right? Like that happens. So let's see. So she's still ahead, even if you boosted his stats by the 400. 100 5-star is still a little bit ahead. It's close though. It's very close. Now Tesla actually is more ahead than she is because I'm actively trying to get him to 2k foe. He's like the unit I'm working on like right now. Oh, so different units though have different stat spreads. They're not all created equal. They're normally comparable, but they're not like all created equal. Like some units just have more stats than others, like even amongst 3-stars. So anyway, though, it's close. A 120 3-star is very close to a level 100 5-star, which is pretty impressive because 5-stars are obviously 90 by default. So I think they're definitely going to be ahead of a level 90. Because like here, yeah, he's already slightly ahead, like a little bit less attack, but a good bit more health. So and he's not 120, he's 116. So yeah, a 120 is a little bit ahead of a regular, but that's why I was saying I wish Enkidu was a bit more upgraded, because Enkidu's actually at a disadvantage here stat wise. Not massively, but he is at a disadvantage here stat wise, even though he is a 5-star. However, Enkidu is NP4, which is way above average for a 5-star, even if you do grail them and whatnot. So it almost evens it out, but it's still favoring Ku in terms of stats. Like it absolutely is favoring Ku. But still, we'll use Enkidu regardless. How big is the difference with and without faux pas? It really depends on the unit, because faux pas are really weird because they're basically 500 more attack, but only for your normal attacks. And not for your extra attack either. So not for your extra attack, not for your NP. And those are actually your two most damaging skill normally. Now obviously you have a lot of units like Buster up and they do Buster crits, and then that's bullshit. But so if you're a crit unit, faux pas are huge. Because if you're a crit unit, you don't care that the faux pas don't apply to your NP. Like Caligula. Caligula don't give a shit that the faux pas don't apply to his NP, right? And when you crit, it multiplies based on the base damage of the normal card. So having 500 more base damage actually translates to even more than 500 damage into the crit, right? So crit units, big deal. Non-crit units, you know, it's a nice little extra chunk of stats, but it's not great. Yeah, actually, Chakojana is a unit that faux pas are really good on, because she, even though you might think you're wanting to like NP all the time, she very much is about the crits. She's massively about critting. So yeah, she's a huge fan of them. So yeah, it just depends on the unit. On average, though, I would say they're always nice. They're normally not going to make or break you that much. You know, they're less good than a faux pas, or I'm sorry, faux items, right? Like 1k and 2k faux. And even for a crit unit, that's true. Because everything raw attack stat does is just better than faux pas, right? Because it will apply to your crits and your non-crits, the like, and it'll also apply to your extra attack and your NP. Much like Golden Sumo, chat, when I think about that, when you faux pas a unit, you take them to like a 2,000 bonus attack, right? That boost is helping your art cards, your quick cards, your buster cards, and you know, like really rare, but it actually will boost your extra attack. It's a really hard thing to do. Not a lot does that. But attack up does that too, chat. It does all of those things. And attack up will help you if you crit, and it'll help you if you fail to crit, right? And it makes the NP better. It's so yeah, faux pas and attack up are they got a lot in common there. So yeah, thank goodness for Golden Sumo, chat. Can really boost everything your favorite unit does. It's really nice. Asshole streamer, yeah. Okay. Look, chat, I have to put up with you all, like with the peanut gallery when I'm trying to do shit. You all have to put up with Golden Sumo hype. I feel like this is a fair trade for the most part. You know. All right, so Enkidu time. I tell you, for 5 stars, so like, how do I break this down? So like right now, I'm gonna grail like Darius to 100, right? And then I might, I'm grailing Caligula at least to 90. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm a little tempted to grail him to 100, but I don't know, we'll see. But he's definitely going to go to 90. And then after that, you know, there's like Leonidas, there's Beowulf, there's a lot of like options. There's even some other low stars and stuff that I might grail. But for 5 stars specifically, right? So if you cut out all the 1 to 4 stars, the 5 stars that I would think about grailing, you know, because Tesl's already 100, is Arthur and Enkidu and maybe even Karna. But I'm not gonna lie, the materials Karna needs are just, I don't know about that. But and I guess Romulus, oh, and Bizet, right? Yeah, those are the 5 stars that I like enough that I might grail them. Enkidu and Arthur though are really high on the 5-star list, right? If I ever, and actually Gilgamesh, but I already grailed Gilgamesh my other account, so I have no need to grail him over here. But just in case people don't know that. Anyway, so Enkidu is on the list of 5 stars I'd want to grail. The problem is he's so far behind a bunch of our like 1 to 4 stars that I just don't see it happening anytime soon, right? I like Enkidu a lot. I like Arthur a lot. But man, there's just so many like other rarities, and I even if I like Enkidu just a little bit more, let's say there's a 3-star that I really like, but I like Enkidu more than them, right? But I really do like the 3-star, right? So they keep up with Enkidu, right? Character-wise, I'll grail the 3-star over Enkidu. I will, because the 3-star needs it, right? Enkidu's not actually going to change that much at 100, right? He'll get a bit stronger, sure, but he won't change that much. Where if there's a 3-star that I super like and I take that to 100, they're going to change a crap load, right? They're going to get a significant increase from that. So yeah, it takes a lot for me to grail a 5-star. It's just unfortunate because as Ku gets stronger, if I want to compare Enkidu, I kind of need Enkidu to at least be 100. But I don't know, maybe I'll do it just because of that. Okay, what is... I don't know if I want to do Pearson Vulnerability on Buster. Because he doesn't have Pearson Vulnerability, so we're going to have to deal with that on our NP turn. Ooh. Boy, that's not going to be smooth for us. It wasn't smooth for Ku either, but I feel like it's more of a problem for Enkidu. I mean, technically I could do like quick NP quick, but I don't really like that. I guess I put it on Buster. It's good for the turns that I'm not NPing on, I would say. Probably the best one. Unless I'm going for like quick. I haven't actually tested the 3rd passive, but I would imagine it works like an attack up. I can't see why it wouldn't. I know because I know the extra attack one is basically extra up, which is funny because that's not really a thing. But that is how the extra one works. It's like having like a silver buff, like you'd have art up or, you know, quick up, you know, like a green buff or quick up. You know, it's basically a silver up because it doesn't just make the damage better. It makes the star gen better. It makes the NP gain better, etc., etc. So I would imagine the anti-berserker one is just going to be like an attack buff essentially. Because if you read it, that's kind of how it reads as, right? Because if you read the extra attack one, it says like performance up, like you would get from a quick up or an art up or a buster up, where the 3rd skill reads as like an attack up. So I presume it works like an attack up, but I've never tested it, and it's difficult to test that kind of thing anyway. So yeah, I don't know for sure. But if the text is to believe, it would be like an attack up. All right, boom. Heal boost is good on Enkidu, but it's not like always a must. Because sometimes the 10k heal's enough, but 15k heal is pretty funny. Hey, Say. I'm making an Arc Knight's flex. Alright, what do you got, Say? How much of a flex do we have here? That's not an Arc Knight's flex, that is... Although, grats, though, I think that was the last thing you needed, so grats on the Say thing there. Okay. Do I do heal on quick, perhaps? Yeah, that's alright. And what else? Maybe just Star Bomb. I mean, stars are never a bad thing. Either that or crit down. We have our own crit down, but doubling up We'll do stars. That's alright. I have lots of 6 stars in Arknights, but I've never leveled any of them except for Ash. Ash is the only one. I've been playing that game for a while too. I've just never leveled them, and I don't plan on leveling them anytime soon either. I will eventually. The thing is, it's really different than FGO, right? Because FGO I play really actively, right? So I like really actively. So even though I focus on, you know, low star stuff, I have plenty of, you know, excess time and resources and materials and stuff to level up gold units. Because it's not like there's like, how do I put this? I've leveled up Lancelot, but I'm not going to use him very often because again, I do a lot of budget stuff. But if I've already beat a stage, now I want to go beat it again for fun and do a Lancelot setup for fun, I can do that, and I do that. And I do the same thing in Arknights, but I don't have like, I don't farm much over there, like at all. So I don't have like the excess resources to do what I do in FGO, where I can kind of do both. But someday I will, but much slower, right? Like I progress in that game pretty slowly, so I'm not, you know, I can beat what I need to beat with the budget stuff that I have, so there's no rush. Okay, so what on earth is going to be our CE here? Obviously Yang CE is the best, but we beat it with Q without, so we will go without here. Guts is okay. Yeah, I'm okay with Guts, because we have a lot of time to get our NP anyway. Yeah, that's fine. Atlas or default? That's tough. That is tough, because the heal boost is actually pretty swell with default. We'll go Atlas and see if it allows us to get our 3rd skill twice. That might not work though, because the boss just does he just does so much damage. I'm not sure we'll get away with that, so default could definitely be better here. And it was for Ku, so... I've never found LMD as bad in Arknights as it is in FGO. And it's, though that, I think has changed since FGO got the new dailies. Like, I feel like FGO with the old dailies, QP is a much bigger problem than LMD in Arknights. Especially because you can generate LMD passively in Arknights. You can't do that in FGO. But once FGO got the updated dailies, it's either tied or in FGO's favor. It might be in FGO's favor, because like those new dailies in FGO are pretty big. But FGO also increased the amount of a QP that you need because of the new passive system. You won't notice that like right away, but I have noticed that massively. Actually, now that I think about it, if anything, it's harder now, even with the new dailies, because I'm sitting here on 0 QP essentially, and that's never happened before. Like I've never had those problems in FGO. And like it's like shit. Like you don't notice it at first, right? But like after a little while, you start like getting more and more coins from the low stars and things like that. You just start using QP so much more rapidly in FGO. Like it's really caught up with me in these last few months, where I've noticed that like holy shit, the QP that you spend in FGO is really high now. Yeah, I know LMD is hard for 6 stars, because I did level Ash, but you can't say that QP is not hard on 5 stars, and this is what I'm talking about. It used to be 120 million. Actually, it was a bit more than that because you have like Ascension costs. So it's, I don't remember exactly, but it's like 130 million or whatever for a 5 star in FGO, and that's pretty rough. But you know, it's manageable if you're only doing it every once in a while. That's not too big of a deal. But it's double now because of the passive system, especially if you get like an NP2 or NP3. So now we're in like up to like 300 million for 1 unit. Like 1 unit. What if you have 2 units, right? Like you have 2 5 stars. Now you're at 600 million, right? And oh yeah, you're probably gonna have a few 4 stars mixed in there, and then you got your favorite, you know, 3 stars. It's just, like it is absolutely crazy now. So not that, you know, I know LMD can be a problem in Arknights. I'm not trying to like say it's not, but QP is pretty wild in FGO. Yeah, that coin system, man, it's rough. No brave chain. Guess I'll quick chain. No, who gives a shit about critting when he's got a million damage cut. I've almost never had problems in Arknights for LMD, but I can do math, and because I know I use low stars, you know, I can see the math and what it's like for the high stars, because you know I I know there are experiences beyond my own, right? And but from what I've looked at, it's still worse than FGO, especially with the coin system. I think NA players are going to feel that in a few months because it takes a second for it to catch up with you, but it does. That is another thing. If you don't actually have to spam the stuff in Arknights that requires LMD, right? If you just don't do LMD related things, it's not actually that big of a deal in Arknights. Where in FGO, that is absolutely not the case. Like you actively have to. If you're gonna make a unit like even close to its maximum potential, like even close to it, you're gonna have to use a lot of QP. Like no matter what, like you have no choice. I don't know when they're going to add the new dailies. If they do it based on when JP got them, you'll get them next anniversary, I think. Or is it the one after that? Wait a minute. You're about to get Castoria, right? Because, wow, you guys got the coin system so early. What the fuck? Yeah, you got a minute. Yeah, you got a minute. Yeah, wow, he really gave you all the coin system early. That's wild. You're actually lucky for that, though. Even though there's drawbacks, you guys are really lucky that you got that early because it just allows you to get coins for units that are added in advance. I mean, that's huge. Like, I wish JP had gotten it when you guys got it, and it made life a lot easier. Like, and you actually, you know about it, and then, like, if you get, like, you know, Ezo, you'll actually get his fucking coins, right? What do? I definitely do my second skill. We have to do the Pierce and vulnerability. I don't really have to do the art card, so I guess quick. Do I want to heal boost? Yeah, well, actually, I'm not sure I'm going to heal next turn because I'd overheal a little bit. So putting it on cooldown is nice. Chat, I don't know if this is the music that would be playing if this was like an anime of Hector versus Enkidu and like Troy. I don't know about that. Not gonna lie, I can't imagine this song playing in any Fate-related story other than like, you know, Capsule Fighter or whatever. Okay, he's almost out. There's no point in heal boosting and healing, but I could heal and then heal boost for the next one. But then I miss out on stars. How much do I care about stars? A decent amount, because next turn is when we can actually do damage. Man, Hector is such a killer, dude. I would still have almost 15,000 health, though, if I was counterclassing. There's really no point in healing until our guts goes off. Unless I want the guts to buy me a turn for the heal to come back. Okay, that's actually true. Oh, this is a tough call. This is a really tough call. Because if I can't stall enough to get my heal back, I should not use it now. There's no reason to. I should use it after guts. So, I can... Hold on, I can math this. This is where if Enkidu was 100, this would be a bit easier, because I'd have more health to work with, which could be me one more turn. Okay, so we are going to have one turn from guts. We are going to have our evade again. We're going to have invulnerability. So, and then we have Atlas, so that's 2 turns. And then we might get our evade again, so that's 6 turns. And in best case scenario, our guts doesn't go off this turn, so that would be 7 turns. That's not enough, because we would need 10, so that's 3 turns short. So unless a miracle happened, I should just heal right now, even though a lot of it's whiffing. But I think that's best then. Wait, no, that's... No. How did I come to that conclusion? It's literally the other way around, because I don't have enough time. I should use it when it's at it. If I'm not using it twice, use it when it's at its max value. So I should have used it after guts, excuse me. I like how I mapped that out, and then I just did the reverse of what actually makes sense. Okay, let's try that one more time. Well, no NP gain for Enkidu, but it's fine to just get the shield off. Although I don't think it'll matter. Enkidu had overkill on the shield removal. Hey, what about per body? Did I miss something? Alright, in a way, it's actually better to Brave Chain with Leonidas. Yeah, fuck it. I think we'll have the NP gain. It's not a big deal. Because really, unless you think you're going to be short on the NP gain, all you really care about is the is the shield stuff. By the way, what is Enkidu's third pass? Oh, it's Berserker, of course. I know it's Berserker. That's why he's so good for Fluffy. I wonder battery passive and extra passive. Yeah, they're both good. Her battery is probably better, unless you have like teams that never have an issue with that, and you've already got like MLBK scope and things like that. Okay, so NP gain is important now though, because we did kind of go easy on it. Let's see. We need 2 turns though. I need to get my NP in 2 turns. Do I need to do my art card? It'll come back by the time I need it, so I guess I'll just use it just because I don't think it'll matter. So stay safe. So for Siegfried, I would go battery. Again, unless you already have like MLBK scope and you're okay with using it, you've got good supports and that kind of thing. I will say the anti-saber is better than it normally would be, right? Normally, if you counter something they're neutral with, it's like who cares? But it's actually kind of nice on Siegfried because if there happened to be a dragon, it's kind of like, you know, you've got any dragon that's a Lancer or a Berserker, he's already godly against. But now he's going to be really good against the Saber dragons as well. That's a lot of units, actually. So, yeah, the anti-saber one is not too bad, because there's a lot of farming stages. You might fight Mordred or Toria, right? There's plenty of dragon sabers, and you know, you got challenge quests and all that too. So, but overall, I'd say the battery is still better, just because that's going to have a pretty universal, you know, benefit to you. Again, unless you're just never wanting on NP, because you're like, oh yeah, I've got you know, Golden Sumo, I've got for 50% starting battery, you've got K scope, you might have an MLB K scope, you've got Waver, you've got Merlin, right? Then you don't really care, right? But yeah, it just kind of depends. All right, so he is at 4, so we'll NP next turn. We'll do quick here, get the heal boost. Hopefully Hector doesn't like shred me this turn. You know, I've never really tried to get Bond on my Enkidu because his Bond C's not really anything that matters. But I actually don't know what his Bond is, because I never bring him for like farming in the back row or whatever, so I kind of wonder what his Bond is. He might just be Bond 5 because of that, to be honest. Alright, I'm at 10k health, so definitely not healing, but I wouldn't heal anyway, because it's what we figured out last time. Alright, so got quick up. We have an 80% crit. I think we'll go with that. So boom, boom, and boom. Do the damage. There's no niches, there's no gimmicks, so nothing in the stage boosts your damage. This is just vanilla Enkidu here. No Berserker, no threat to humanity. Still 89k, that's pretty nice. Because he does that defense down before damage. Really gives him a big boost. Damn it, if he didn't crit us there, we wouldn't have died. That'd have been huge. That really sucks. Yeah, we would have lived there if he didn't crit. And we'd get one more turn. Son of a bitch. Let's see. I think default's gonna be better than Atlas here.
的確に行こう。分かった。そうだね。
Maybe I should have done a more NP game focused combo. Kind of hoping to get my NP regardless though. You know, I just realized, chat, just now, at no point did I realize this before. Ku's pretty good. Because there are some gimmicks here that really are annoying for a lot of units, right? Because a lot of units don't have a good way of dealing with the gimmick here, with him removing a defense buff. But Ku has 2 ways of dealing with the Noble Phantasm gimmick here, where he removes your most recent defense buff. Because Ku has the filler defense buff that will protect his evade, and he has guts, which isn't removed at all. You know, a lot of units don't have a good way of dealing with this, right? You know, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, not only does he have like really good raw value, but like that it's just silly. Okay, so we might actually need to protect our guts then because of that. We could have a lot easier if he did not crit us like he did. So that was really unfortunate. Yeah, we're gonna have a bad time here. Yeah, a default's better than Atlas though. Like, absolutely. I can see that pretty clearly. Because this is a pretty big value check at neutral, but then a lot of units are not gonna be able to deal with the gimmick. So their only answer is winning before his NP comes out, or having a guts CE, which is still difficult to actually keep the guts CE alive that long. So I think a lot of units are just gonna fail this at neutral. That's why I'm saying this is a very good like value check of a unit if you do it at neutral, right? Obviously it's just not because counterclassing is just such a big deal in this game. But yeah, it's big. I'm thinking Kido can do this though. I'm just gonna have to figure it out. So unfortunately we're dead here, but we wouldn't have to be dead here if I played it differently. We need to be more front loaded so I still have guts on this turn. Okay. Or we could use the damage cut. We could use the damage cut command code. That's kind of cheeky, but that would cut into our value though. It really will.
Yeah. いらっしゃいだね、マスターくん。
Anybody could do this though. Anybody could do this, but then you're having to bring 2 command codes that you don't want, and you're having to attack. It's still a hit. Like, that's still gonna hurt your value for sure. Both of my main solo units can't do this because it's a Lancer. Beastly, don't lie to me. You tried it with Fujino anyway, and she probably did pretty well. Like, don't lie to me. I know you did that. And I bet you she actually does all right. Like, I don't think you can win because that's insane, but I bet you she actually gets fairly far. Don't pour Fujino me, chat. She is disgusting. Don't start that nonsense. All right, if we're gonna do damage cut, I guess we cut the star bomb, but man, that's gonna suck. Please buff Fujino again. No. I don't know. Maybe I just try to make the guts work. I mean, the damage cut actually helps us a bit, even when we're not. Alright, I just get lucky with the crits without. I wonder, can any archer do this stage? It's tough because he'll one turn you, like he'll one turn an archer really easily. Like if you get really lucky, it might take him 2 turns to get through your health. But I would say like 90% of the time, even a 5-star archer, he will one shot. Well, it depends how much health you have. There are probably some with enough health that he could one shot them, but it might be more 50-50 or even 40-60. Yeah, our archers, they pretty much will only live 1 turn tops off their health bar, and that's not guaranteed at all. And then whatever hard survivability they have, and that's it, right? Then they're just dead. Yeah, maybe if Orion got really good RNG, was able to double NP way faster than normal, and then crit right away, and then crit again the turn after, you might be able to. The hard part for Orion isn't the damage, because boss doesn't have that much health, and you know, Orion just does nutty damage. It's living to get that damage set up. That's going to be the problem, which he might be able to do. He does have guts, which helps. So, yeah, if any archer can do it, it probably is him. And then Fujino's up there. She's probably, out of all the archers that fail, Fujino's probably closest to winning, I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, of course Herc can do this. Because the HP drain is not enough to offset like the health that he comes back with, and the boss doesn't remove guts, and this guy is being counterclassed by Herc, so Herc will kill him in like 2 turns. So, like, I don't think you would even get to the point where you ran out of guts like, at all, right? Basically, just spam NP gain, right? And get your NP as fast as possible by pinging off the shields. And as soon as the shields are gone, NP and then see red, press red, and then Hector's dead so quick. Like, and he'll just die so fast. Like, there's no problem at all. Like, a lot of Berserkers would beat this, to be honest, because they'll just kill it, right? They'll kill it almost as fast as the Saber will. And like, it's 489k. That's not a big deal. You know, when you double it, then you know it's a bigger deal because a lot of units run out of steam and then their damage goes down, right? But when you win before your damage has fallen off and the enemy's already dead, then you know it's just kind of boom boom. It's over. The anti-crit skill is useful, but only when you're going against that specific class, so it's not great. Also, because it's on Berserkers, a lot of times Berserkers you're going to be using on a team where you're protecting them, so they can't be crit anyway. Right, you're using a taunt, or you got Nash's buffs up, or Merlin, or you know, that kind of thing. It is good against an AoE boss though, because you can't protect them as well in those situations. So I mean, it doesn't hurt to have it, but it's pretty low priority, I would say. Like if you got the coins, you know, go for it. But the other passives are generally going to be better. It depends on the unit. Some units don't want the battery at all, but most do. I wish I could have healed on this turn so that I'd offset the drain. Oh yeah, and the drain can't kill you anyway, so Herc wouldn't even need to heal or anything. Yeah, the drain only takes it down to 1 HP. Yeah, Herc will destroy this. But I think most Berserkers would destroy this, because all you gotta do is like give them a gut CE and then use your Mystic Code and stuff, and they'll live long enough, and they'll just one-shot the boss. I mean, I think most Berserkers can one-shot this boss if they're set up properly. Like Beowulf would I can show that in a second just to prove my point. Like, I mean, you know, I think Beowulf can do this. Yeah, I don't see why not. like Sabers in Berserkers, it's really easy. And in a way, it's almost easier for Berserkers, even though they do less damage than Sabers against the Lancer. It's just Berserkers' toolkits are aimed at burst damage, and the boss doesn't have... okay, it's hard. Let me put it this way. If you were using a Berserker and they were class neutral like Enkidu is here, you'll use up all of your big burst damage, get him to like half health or a bit lower, but then you'll have no damage left, and then what's left of the health will go even slower than normal, right? So that's why doing this at class neutral is really hard. But if you're doing counter-class damage, he's just dead before that ever catches up with you. Because, for real, burst units, right, it does come back to haunt them if the fight goes on long enough. But there's no way this fight goes on long enough for a Saber or a Berserker. So, So he's got 7. I could technically go next turn, but... don't particularly like that. Right, we don't have heal boost. No, we don't have Starbond anymore. I guess I take the crit, because the damage cut's not gonna matter right now. But I want the heal boost, yes, because I probably will use the heal command code. I made it okay amount of stars there. I tell you, my account actually I don't think has a lot of units that can solo this at neutral. Now, if I just wanted to solo it, you know, I could use all my berserkers and sabers, and then I could solo it with a lot of stuff. But you know, Ku's done it. I think Scath can do it, although it's pretty. I don't think she has a great win rate, but I think she can do it. I think Enkidu is going to be able to do it, but it's going to be close. I think it's tough. And then Percival can't do it. Like, no way. I don't think I actually have a lot of other units in neutral that could beat this, because this is hard at neutral. Like, it's tough. Yeah, Cairo was saying he didn't think it was, but I think he's full of shit. I think it's super tough. But Cairo didn't even beat it with anybody, so fuck him. I don't know if my King Hassan can, because he's in P1, but a good King Hassan could, definitely. And Kama, absolutely. Kama can absolutely solo this, because Kama is just better at soloing than King Hassan. I'm sorry, she is just better. Like, in raw value, she is just better. Now, there are exceptions to that if the stage, like, rewards Buster or rewards Guts, or, well, no, actually, she's still good there. But there are, occasionally, you have a niche, right, specific gimmick that happens to be up King Hassan's alley, but you're gonna have even more things like that up Kama's alley, and when it's just a straight shot value check, Kama's always better. Like, I've tested it a lot. I've tested Gramps versus Kama a lot, and Kama is just better. Now, he's good, he's really good, right? If you play him perfectly, you line up the guts and all that properly, he's really, 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 really good. He is, like, you know, among the big boys, but Kama is above even that, right? And I don't think this fight really, like, is up. If anything, this fight is less up his alley. It favors, I think, Kama more than it favors him. So Kama is much better here. However, I think he's still good enough to do it. I don't know if mine could do it because mine's, you know, in P1 and stuff, but maybe. Yeah, he can't kill you. He'll take you down to 1. Most drains are like that. It's rare that they can kill you. There are a few that can, but there's not a lot. Okay, I can NP him. No, I can't. Never mind. Shit. I forgot to change the default. Whoops. I think default's better here. Okay, I want to heal. Or do I want to heal boost? Yes. I would like a damage cut, though. 50% crit, and it saves me health, too. Yeah, actually, it's better. As long as he attacks me once, it's actually the same, and it's higher crit, so we go with this. I could quick, but I don't think that's the way to go. Actually, I should have quick. I would have removed all of his shields, even if I hit the invulnerability the one time. And that would have just been better. I would have more health. Yeah, fuck, I just messed up. Well, damn it. That's not good. Alright, how much... Okay, I don't actually have to protect Guts. I really wish I didn't take that much damage there. I don't have to protect Guts. Although it's nice if I do, just so I have more, like, options. But I'm not gonna be able to hold it until his NP. Well, I'm doing this no matter what. I guess I let Guts happen first and then heal. So I need to heal boost when I heal, which is probably next turn. So, I'd love to do that art card, because I have art up right now, and I have 70% crit, and I have Merlin. But I need the heal boost. I could technically heal boost, NP, and then do that, but that would lower my damage a lot. Yeah, poor Cairo is trying to solo this at neutral with Baldy. I think Baldy might be able to do it, but I think it's like a 5% win rate kind of deal, where you got the RNG just has to be, you know, perfect. But he was kind of being down on Baldy because, you know, Baldy couldn't do it, and he was saying, he was like, this stage is easy, and it's like, it shows how bad Baldy is because he can't do it. For solo, obviously, but he's even worse in team play, and he's actually right about that. Baldy really is not good in team play. He's very unreliable in team play. But the thing is, I don't think it's much of a black mark if Baldy can't do this, because a lot of units I don't think can do this. Like, this is pretty hard at neutral. I have no idea if this is the right play, but If the art card crits, I think it's the right play. Because art up, crit up, you know, Merlin, that's a lot of NP gain. If the art card 30% doesn't crit, then this is terrible. 107, wow. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I like that. Boy, Scath wishes she could do that. Even if she crits with an art card, that just not happen. But you can get one more turn out of your health bar, though. It is possible. But that just didn't happen on this one. Do I need to evade right now? Not really, but I don't... This is why I think default is better. I don't think I can get it to come back again. I can try, but it seems pretty unlikely. Do I quick here? Yeah, that's fine. Go, like, we won't do much damage, but that's alright. Yeah, and Kido can do this. You just gotta figure out the right combination of things, I think. It's tough, but I think you can do it. Dude, Spino's art crits are hilarious. Like, he makes so much NP gain. And Carmella is like that as well. Now, I can heal boost, and I could definitely get another turn out of my health bar. And it's better to do it now before you get drained, but it's really iffy. It's probably better to just invulnerability. I could just vanilla heal here. I'll get more in the long run if I heal boost. But time is of the essence, kinda. No, I'll do it. Oh, I'll do it. It's really funny is if you get like, because Enkidu didn't have the first card art bonus there because he doesn't have like a team, right? But you can have like, you know, Martha or Waver, whoever, right? They do an art card, and that gives the first card art bonus to like Carmella or Steno or something, and then the art crit in third place with the first card art bonus. It's just absolutely silly at that point. Now, he's not actually going to NP here. Yeah, dude, Atlas just doesn't work, because to get the most out of it, I need to evade here, and then Atlas and try to evade again. But I can't do that. I have to actually hold it, because he's not going to NP right now. He's going to NP on the next one. So, yeah, Atlas is a no, and it's going to be default. The boss just does too much damage for Atlas to, like, be able to line up the way that you want it to. So, we might die here, which is not ideal. I need to focus on survivability then. So we can do damage, we can just do everything. Double heal boost and damage cut and heal. Right, 10k. I think we'll win with default as long as we get a good run. I think we can do it. Okay, we're not out of this yet, though. So I need to set up. I have to get my NP, and I have to do damage cut. So I don't really need the art card, but critting is nice. But more stars is nice. I think we'll just take the. Maybe we do it in second place, that way we make more stars and we still do good damage. Yeah, that's probably the best. Okay, triple crit, I like that. Oh, we might win. Yep, I think we win. Yep, we definitely win. Unless we get the lowest low roll possible, we win. Nice buff removal, champ. You removed a damage cut. Good job, you dumb, I don't know, defender of Troy, whatever. Uncle. Why? I'm over here insulting Hector, by the way. He's a good lad, so... Okay, we didn't even go down to 1 HP. Alright, see, this is what I'm talking about. Atlas was never used, and now that it's used here, it's not actually giving us a skill, so... Okay, here's an insult. Paris turned out as lame as he did because of Hector. See, that's insulting right there.
いいね。
I'm gonna do the art card because nothing is super likely to crit, and the art card has the art up, so
任せ
I don't have to zeet the app. I was getting ready to zeet the app, but I don't have to do that.
呼び起こすわ。
Okay, for real though, Hector's cool. I like Hector. He's got a good voice actor. He's a cool character.
ゆえに N
Good design. Kind of unique.
やべえなこりゃ。まだまだこれから。
Okay, so we just beat that with Enkidu, and we didn't even have the right Mystic Code. By the way, I've said this before, and this shows it so clearly. Not that Scath is like light years behind, but look, Scath and Enkidu are both not getting niches here, right? And Enkidu is better. He just beat this with the wrong Mystic Code. Right? He literally just beat this using the wrong Mystic Code. Right? If I use default, we could just have done the evade instead of the invulnerability. It's exactly the same. We'd have an extra heal to potentially survive an extra turn, and then we have attack up, so we'd probably win a turn sooner, right? He's better, right? He is just better than she is, right? I've said this before. People always try to tell me that Scath is better than Enkidu. It's like, no. Even when they don't have niches, he is better than her. Now, she keeps up, right? She's not like light years behind, but he is a bit better than her. However, when they're in their niches, he is so much better than her. It is absolutely stupid. And he has more niches than she does, because for some reason, they gave him anti-berserker. I don't know why they did this. Now, obviously, her niche is pretty common too, right? They both have the divinity thing. And I think she got did she get undead as well? Let me see. That's pretty rare, but let me look. The divinity is the one that matters. And if you need raw nuking, obviously her against divinity is really, really good. But Enkidu gaining a stun is so stupid that like it's completely broken. And then threat to humanity is you know, pretty common for big major bosses, not for like typical stuff. But okay, her third skill is, yes, undead. Now that is rare, but it does come up from time to time. So that is one little niche she does have over Enkidu. But he has all berserkers. Just, you know, casually all berserkers, and when they're divine, I think he comes out on top, unless you need specifically burst damage, but I do think he comes out on top when it comes to divinity. Just him having stun is just, it's so silly. Because she has stun all the time, but her NP gain is trash, and then, like, that's what I'm talking about. In this fight, Scath has her stun, Enkidu doesn't, Enkidu is better, right? Because, like, the stun is, like, a balanced part of Scath's kit. If Enkidu has stun, it's not balanced, right? He's just overpowered at that point. And then he also has threats to humanity, which I think is better than the undead. So yeah, I think Enkidu is just much better than she is. Even though she's good, right? Even though she is good. Because it's not like she's way behind him here, right? She does keep up, because I think she can beat the stage 2. It's just really hard, right? Because if I actually use the right Mystic Code there, I don't think it's actually hard for Enkidu anymore. Yeah, at first I was kind of just playing it wrong, and it just took me a second. But if I use default Mystic Code, I think that stage is pretty in the bag for Enkidu. A lot like with Ku, right? With Ku, until I played it right, it was kind of rough. But once I figured it out on Ku not only won, but he actually had an extra turn of survivability left over, right? So like Ku really got that stage like unlocked. But I think Enkidu does too. It's a little bit closer. I don't think Enkidu's doing quite as well. But Enkidu is also a bit behind on stats compared to Ku. It's very close. They're almost tied on stats, but Enkidu's a little bit behind. So yeah, Ku winning, I think, but Enkidu incredibly close, and then Scath is a bit behind that. And then yeah, I think Enkidu just has better niches. Who else is worth trying here? Oh, Beowulf. I said I'd do Beowulf just to show off how, like, not a big deal it is if you're actually doing damage, because of counterclassing. Maybe I'm wrong, like, maybe Beowulf's gonna get smacked, but I don't think so, because... And Beowulf is nothing special, like, no offense to Beowulf, but, like, he's good. He's a solid, straightforward berserker, but he is nothing special, right? He's not, like, breaking the mold in any way, right? He's kind of just typical berserker, go-burr things. There's way better berserkers in both survivability and damage, so... And he's only grailed to 90. I don't have him at 100 or anything crazy fancy. Really should, though. I'm a really big Beowulf fan. It's mainly that he doesn't have an animation update that kind of makes me wary. I have absolutely no idea what I should do card-wise. I guess just hit it very hard, embrace the Ooga Booga. I don't see why not. Could do the Star Absorb one, just because it has crit up on it. He might not need it, though. So maybe just yeah, I guess just damage. Don't see why not. Five-star Beowulf would be interesting, but unfortunately he is so unpopular in Japan that I don't really see any chance of that happening. I think the only reason he got any love in Lost Belt 1 was because the writer happened to like the character. But look, even though the writer wanted to use Beowulf and actually gave him some, you know, love, he didn't get an animation update, right? Because that's not up to the writer, right? And so, like, it just kind of shows, like, how little, like, the company side of things cares about Beowulf, because the player base doesn't care. We can do anti-mail, I suppose. It's 20%. Pretty good. It might actually be better to do... I think Hector's a servant. I didn't pay attention, but I don't think he's human. That would be weird. Like story stuff. So I guess Gilgamesh. It's 5% less damage on the crit turn, but every time we don't crit, it's more. So it's only 5% if you do crit. I don't really think it's entirely because he does do a few cool things, like, you know, in Lost Belt 1, and but yeah, he wasn't used in America. He never has really been in events. He doesn't have an animation update, but I don't know. It's like he's not really their kind of character generally. Characters like him oftentimes aren't popular. When they are, it's like they're more like, this might seem similar, but there are some differences. Like Achilles is popular, right? But there is some differences between Beowulf and Achilles, right? They're obviously both, like, you know, Chadicus and Bradicus, but like Achilles is more like a sports car, right? Where Beowulf is like a monster truck, right? And the sports car thing can be popular in Japan, where not so much monster truck, right? So, like, characters like Beowulf oftentimes are not popular in Japan. I've seen it in, like, a lot of different anime and video games and stuff. And again, there's exceptions. It's not like he doesn't have fans, he does have some. And when characters are characterized well, that can top almost anything, right? So like if Beowulf got awesome characterization and like let's say he was in an anime and he was like the main character or a major side character and he had an awesome character arc, then he probably would become popular, right? Like he probably would. Now even Kentoki he's kind of in between. He is kind of between a monster truck and a sports car, but like Beowulf is way more of a monster truck than Kentoki is. Like if you look, not only their designs. Because, you know, Beowulf's got the beard, but I mean, like, what they're wearing, and then, like, their voice lines, and what they're saying when they're attacking and everything. Like, Beowulf is way more brutish than Kentoki is. It's really not that close. Now, Kentoki is more brutish than Achilles is, like, absolutely, but he's kind of in between the two. But also, Kentoki has gotten a lot more screen time, because what I was getting to, well, a sports car is not really a pretty boy. That's what I'm saying. Like a pretty boy is like I don't know, a Porsche. I don't know what to use for an example for that. But there's a difference between like pretty boy and then like what Achilles is. That's why I said sports car, right? Because Achilles is kind of, you know, it's degrees. But anyway, because there's a big difference between like, you know, Landling and Achilles, right? But almost any character can get popular if they're characterized well, if they're, you know, are used and whatnot. But they're less likely to get used if they're not already popular, right? It's kind of a, you know, snake eating its own tail situation here. But yeah, it's just the deck is kind of stacked against Beowulf, and he's kind of been in the game for so long, I don't see them changing their minds at this point. Yeah, I don't know what car you would use it as an example for a pretty boy, but I think just calling them a pretty boy gets the point across for, like, you know, Landling and that kind of stuff. But like, you know, Achilles is closer to being a pretty boy than Beowulf is, right? I don't think Achilles really counts as that, right? He's not like Landling, but he's closer to that than Beowulf is. Like very much so. Okay, not this. I do think Beowulf could become somewhat popular if they did use him more, though. I do agree, right? I think any character that's characterized well, and well, it's a bit more than that. They need to have like a good legend that they're based on and blah 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 blah. But I think what Beowulf is based on and everything, I think he could be popular if he was used more. But I don't think he ever would be as popular as Achilles or Masashi or whatever, even if he had good screen time and everything, I do not think he would get that popular. I don't think he'd get as popular as Achilles. I absolutely not. But I think he would be like closer to that. Canis isn't popular though. That's the thing. Canis is not popular. She sold horribly badly. She is not popular at all. The reason why people think she's popular is because she, like, that kind of character isn't really in the game much. And so the people that like that kind of character are very, like, how to put this? So, what's a character that's really common? What's an archetype in this game? Hi, Cairo. Thank you for the raid. How far did you get? Because if you fought some of the major bosses, I want to watch the VOD later. But yeah, how far did you get? But so, if you have a character... Oh, tsundere. There we go. Okay. So, there's multiple tsunderes in the game, right? So, and there's different degrees of tsundere, right? You've got, like, super tsundere and kind of more tame tsundere, right? So, you have lots of tsunderes in the game. Yeah, I almost like the first boss. I kind of want to know what you don't like about it, because there's some things I don't like about it either. There's quite a few bosses that actually have some design that's kind of fucked, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so tsunderes, there are a lot of fans of tsunderes, and there's a lot of tsundere characters in the game, so they're kind of spread out, right? And they kind of pick their poison. People that are fans of tsunderes aren't going to like just whatever tsundere they happen to add, because there's already so many tsunderes. With Canis, basically every fucking person that likes that kind of character is going to like that character, and it's going to be on their support list or whatever, because there's like her and Mordred, and that's it, right? So it like seems like Canis is really popular, but she's actually not. Like, when you look at the data, she's actually pretty unpopular. Like, she's actually like really, really low. Like, her sales are crap. You know, the amount of you know, almost any metric you could go off of how popular she is, she's actually very unpopular. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with Beowulf, because even though they're a bit different, they are kind of in a similar area, and characters like that are just always, you know, not like, I don't know if unpopular is the right way to put it, but they're never really that popular, right? Like, sure, if Beowulf was used better and he was in like the story more and stuff, he would be more popular if he had a good animation update and that kind of thing. But he's just never going to be super popular. Because again, Canis is not super popular. I mean, she sold like dog shit. Yeah, actually kind of sad. Romulus sold pretty bad too. I think Romulus, I can't remember if he sold better. I think he did sell better than Canis. But he didn't sell that well. He's actually one of the worst performing male characters. Like, Ivan did way better, Muramasa did way better, you know, King Hassan did way better. I mean, almost every male character I can think of has actually done better than Romulus. He was kind of... He still beat Galatea, he beat, what was the other one that was unpopular? Fuck, it was someone else that was oh, Karen. Yeah, Jesus, yeah, Karen was really unpopular. I mean, there's always going to be people that like a character, even if they're an archetype they don't like because they like the way they're written or whatever. That's always going to happen, but that's going to be like, that's true for almost any character ever. You know, it's going to disproportionately affect the ones that are, you know, really written well, but there's always going to be exceptions to any character, right? Someone might like a character they normally don't like because they have pink hair, or because they did something cool in the story, or whatever, right? That's going to be true for everything, but when we're talking overall popularity, right? Like, not on an individual level, like an individual person is going to like a character for all kinds of reasons. But when you look at like the overall thing that makes a character popular, you clearly see trends. There are just things like in Japan that are on average are just less popular than they are like stateside, and vice versa. Like, or in China or Korea and stuff like that. Different, you know, there's clear things like that. That doesn't mean anything for an individual person, right? Like, so let's say you have more brutish characters that are less popular. That doesn't mean there aren't people that don't like brute characters in Japan, but there is going to be less of them than in America and things like that. And that's just true for all kinds of things. And that's what I was getting at. Beowulf is just not an archetype that is popular in Japan. He just isn't. Even though he does have some degree of fans, and he could, if written well, potentially have more fans. Almost anything when written well is going to gain, you know, more popularity. Even if, but that a lot of times that's going to be in spite of their archetypes, right? Because, you know, like it or not, you know, people just do have preferences and stuff that can be kind of, you know, on a broad sense, you know, are going to affect these things. So. There are some characters though that do have like no chance, right? There are some like archetypes or character designs or whatever that like are just never gonna get popular. And Beowulf is not in that camp, but there's not that many like that. Like Phantom, I feel like Phantom is doomed. I don't think Phantom is ever gonna be popular in this game. I think he could be a little bit more popular than he is if you got like a good costume and like you do like a Phantom of the Opera story or whatever. Like there's like if you put effort in, you could salvage it. Like I've talked about this, you could do a story. It could be an event story or a main story. It doesn't matter. Just it's a serious story because some event stories are serious. Not often, but sometimes they are. So you have a story set in France, right? And you can have it revolve around the French opera house, right? Obviously Phantom of the Opera stuff here. And you could come up with a pretty cool setting with that, right? You could have like Christina as like the main character you're working with, and this is what I've said would be awesome. This is what I'd want to see, and I think this would make Phantom more popular. I think it absolutely would. He's not going to be as popular as Musashi or anything, but so here's what you do. First off, you give Phantom an animation update, but like how they kept it kind of secret with Kojiro for a little bit, you keep it secret. I know that's going to piss people off to an extent, but I think it's worth it here. So you give Phantom an animation update, but you don't implement it right away. And you're going to disappoint people with that because you're making an event with Christina in it, and it's set in the France and everything, and then people see that Phantom of the Opera doesn't get an animation update. So early on in the event, I'm going to be pissed. A lot of people are going to be the 5 people that care about Phantom of the Opera. All 5 of them are going to be pissed off they didn't get an animation update, right? So anyway, you're working with Christina, blah, 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 blah. You maybe hint at Phantom of the Opera and stuff, but he's not actually, really in the event. Maybe you talked about him, like, in past tense, like he was here or whatever, like, or you kind of, like, have Christina talk about his character or whatever. So you get Phantom of the Opera stuff, but, as of, like, most of the event, he's not in it, right? And then you have, like, some other major villain that, seems like is going to be the bad guy at the end, and you kind of build up to that. You have your big fight with them at the end, and they can be like another opera-based character or another famous French character or just someone that has an interesting, like, way they can play off Christina or whatever, right? There's a lot of options you could pick for this villain. Or you could just make it a thought, right? Because they like to make super space thoughts be a big, Akama and, Kiara. For some reason, whenever you have to fight like cosmic threats, it just has to be a thought for some reason. But anyway, so you fight this big bad guy at the end and all that. But then you have, Phantom actually be the final bad guy, kind of like a Kodamine is the surprise final bad guy of Heaven's Feel. You have Phantom actually be the final bad guy like he should be, and then you show off his animation update, and he gets a fucking costume that's like way more classical and like awesome, and you give him, new voice lines like Caligula got, and you give him like this 10 out of 10 animation update like Caligula got, right? And you give him some really nice characterization at the end of the story and everything. That will make Phantom more popular. If you put in the effort, 'cause look, Caligula got kind of popular after his animation update, and he wasn't even in the story for God's sakes, right? Although he was in Lost Belt 5 before that. But so if you do like all that for Phantom, he's getting more popular, right? I guarantee it. But especially if Christina is popular, because he's like gonna play off of that character. So if Christina got really popular, he would get more popular in turn. So yeah, that would be awesome. And I actually wish like all characters in Fate could get their due like that. That's why I want like an event or whatever set in Nottingham, right? You could do a lot of Robin Hood stuff. Add Little John. You could add the sheriff. All kinds of stuff. You could add another Robin Hood because there's multiple takes on the character, right? You can add your waifu Robin Hood or whatever you want to do. I just want I want them to really give a shit about more than just like Musashi, right? I'm not even mad Musashi got a lot of screen time. It's just I would like more classical stories. I don't want everything to be weird. Not everything has to be a giant Lost Belt that culminates in fighting a space god or whatever. You can just have an event story that's set in Nottingham, and you really flesh out the characters surrounding Nottingham. Am I nuts? Chat, does everyone just think that sounds boring? Am I the only one that likes this? Like, because yeah, you can of course have your main story and your Lost Belts and stuff, and you can get all space crazy nonsense or whatever, but I think every once in a while it would be nice to have, like a French singularity or a War of the Roses singularity, event story or whatever, or Epic of Remnant style content or whatever you want to do. And a War of the Roses would be awesome, actually. There's lots of stuff you can do that. But yeah, I don't think everything has to be this grandiose space bullshit. I think we can have some just kind of... It's a great way, and you can have a Beowulf one, right? We can have a Beowulf story, and you can add Grendel and Grendel's mom and stuff like that. You know, that'd be awesome. You get Beowulf an animation update, right? Like giving the various legends and characters like their due like that would be really fun. And of course, you don't have to like copy paste everything. You don't need the Legend of Beowulf to play out one for one like it does in history, because it is a singularity, right? You can throw in, you know, Kentucky or Raiko or whatever the fuck into the mix, right? You can obviously mix things up. That's fine. But, you know, getting some classical, you know, stuff would be awesome. I would love an event with, like, Geronimo and, like, gunslingers, because you have, like, that, you know, the issues with the native tribes, right? And then, you know, the Americans, if you will, right? There's a lot you can do with that, because it's not like all Americans were bad, and not like all the native tribes were good. Absolutely not. Like, not even close. So there's a lot you can do with that, so that'd be really interesting. And just expanding that era of the Wild West, you know, that is the America, United States, right? That's their medieval period, right? That's their like kind of age of you know, wonder or whatever, if you will. It gets romanticized, right? It is the Wild West for them, so there's a lot of fun to be flushed out there. But yeah, we're not. I'm actually like sad now, because I think a lot of these ideas would just be fairly reasonable to implement, and it gives you a reason to use a lot of characters that they don't use often, and you could flesh out, you know, a lot of these like bits of the Fate history that they don't really talk about too much. But yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens in 3.0. It's going to give them a fresh slate to mix things up, and I think the writers do want to do something new and like not be so stuck in like the Lost Belt nonsense. But what I'm worried about, because Nasu, what he said in that interview, it really sounded like he just wants to cater to the crowd, because he basically said he's not going to be super involved in 3.0, but he is writing like an outline for it and stuff, and also it's Nasu, he might end up getting super involved in 3.0 because he seems to have a really hard time delegating. He really does. If it's his baby, he wants to do stuff with it, and I understand that. But anyway, what he was saying, and this was years ago, but he was saying he was making an outline for 3.0, one outline for it's connected to 1.0 and 2.0, and then one outline where it's not connected at all. And he had said that it was originally supposed to end with 2.0, right? Like, so I am completely in the camp that 3.0 needs to not have anything to do with 1.0 and 2.0. I don't mind if it has loose connections and, like, you know, it's set years later, and like, you know, you might have Adult Mash as, like, you know, a side character that shows up every once in a while. That's fine, right? It's not like you can't do anything that's connected to it. But I really do think, because they've pretty much confirmed that, you know, it's not 3.0 was not supposed to be part of 1.0 and 2.0. It's not there. The story's supposed to end there. And I think a fresh start and a new take, and just, that's good for it, right? I think that'd be really good for the game to kind of return to zero, if you will, right, and just have a fresh, clean slate. I think that would really be awesome, right? And then you could have, you know, light connections to the other stories, but yeah, getting a bit more grounded, I think, would be very helpful. And I just think it'd be shitty for the writers if they had to... What the fuck? Why did I... God damn it. Okay, we gotta... I was talking so much, I brought Atlas, which that does nothing for Beowulf. He might be able to win anyway, but, I mean, there's no value in Atlas there. There's no debuffs. Well, actually, there are debuffs here, but they happen so rarely. Yeah, I actually hope 3.0 doesn't have the same cast. I very much hope it doesn't. And I hope it's not Chaldea. I hope it's just a new thing. Like a whole new thing. They might have like Age 2 Chaldea though. I could see like Chaldea being kind of resurrected but reformed, because Chaldea is implied to be actually pretty evil. You just don't know about a lot of it because most of them got wiped out. But anyway, I could see like history getting fixed, but Chaldea is kind of reformed, and you have like, you know, the main character is dead or retired or whatever. And you have like a new generation or whatever. I could see them doing something like that, but and that's okay. That could work. And you have like a new reason for singularities that's different from what we had in 1.0 and 2.0. So it's still a fresh thing. But I would kind of just prefer new, right? It doesn't have to be Chaldea anymore and that kind of stuff. But I could see them keeping the Chaldea thing. I could see that, and they're actually pretty incentivized to do that. And this is kind of hard. And I get it. One reason why even if you want a new cast, they're gonna really want it to be Chaldea, is because they have so much Chaldea symbolism, and like they're gonna want like the Mysticotes to still work, right? So even if you have like the ability to use a different main character, or you have multiple masters to pick from, or create your own character, or whatever the fuck they do, they're gonna want the typical default Mystic code, right? They're not, and you have a lot of craft essences and stuff. It just makes sense that even if 3.0 is something different, it's still going to be Chaldia, right? I just, they might just, you know, kind of reboot Chaldia, but we'll see. Well, who knows what they're going to do. I'm excited. I'm actually way more excited for just the potential of 3.0 than really anything that's going to come out of 2.0 at this point. But they're sure taking their sweet fat time, so God knows what's going to happen. If we want 3.0 though to be good and, you know, not phoned in, FGO needs to be successful by the end of 2.0. Now, obviously it is, right? FGO's making plenty of money, but like you don't want FGO to fall off really hard near the end of 2.0, because that's going to de-incentivize them to, like, you know, really try to do like a reboot or a real big fresh, you know, push, right? If the game's like really dying off, then they're just going to coast. So hopefully the game's really popping as of, you know, Lost Belt 7 or what. They're like, if they have a Solomon equivalent or whatever, and I think it will be. I mean, Lost Belt 6 was massive and it blew Twitter up and so on and so forth. All right, I guess Art Card first. He only has a one-hit buster, so that's pretty close. But because of the extra attack, I think Art Card first. Because there's really no Stargin to be had, and I might as well get NP. I imagine if they made a new cast, I mean, it would be characters we've never heard of. You know, you're not going to be able to predict who it would be because, you know, I guess MASH had been heard of because MASH is actually based on a character that was cut from Fate Stay Night. Now, they're a bit different. They had like gray hair instead of pink hair, and their personality definitely was more like, I don't know, like lonely or something. I don't know how to describe it, but they were similar though, right? MASH was based off that. So they could do something like that, but I would imagine it'd just be brand new characters we never fucking heard of at all. What I would actually prefer, what do you think they would do, chat? I actually really want chat's opinion on this. Do you think they would make, because they're going to have like the waifu servant, right? Obviously. Do you think they would do like a MASH again, where it's basically an OC, right? That's just kind of leeching off of another thing, right? Like with Galahad. Or do you think they would just make it a servant, like how, you know, Da Vinci is, you know, just Da Vinci is a character, right? Like, do you think they would just make it X thing and it just happens to be a waifu? Or do you think they're going to do like more OC? Because I don't know, I could easily see them doing either way. I lean towards OC, but it's pretty easy for them to just pick whoever the fuck and make him a waifu, right? So they would pick option 3, some weird shit that makes no sense. I don't think they would do that. They'll do that for other characters, but they always want the main, you know... Look, okay, here's a good example. For those that have played Arknights, the main, you know, character that you get, right, like in that, what's her, the donkey, I forgot her name, Amaya, whatever, Amia, I think is it. Anyway, look how similar she is to MASH. They are outrageously similar, right? They are so interchangeable, it is absurd, right? And games like this, right, like gacha games and stuff, they almost always do that. Like that character is almost always like that, right? They're just that kind of generic, you know, like, you know, easily likable by most people in Japan, right? Waifu, right? It's always going to be that. You know, it's not going to be Van Gogh, thankfully. So I kind of expect just more of that. Like, when do you ever have, like, you know the character I'm talking about, the MASH type character, right? When is that ever a dude, right? Like, that is never a thing. Like, you're not going to have Hans be that character. Now, that would be awesome, and I would actually like FGO so much more if the whole story, instead of MASH being your, like, main companion, it was Hans. That would actually be incredible, but, yeah, that's not happening. Okay, so we just need MP gain and get rid of shield. So if we lose this, it comes complete. I am throwing. I don't want to. I'm talking so much that I'm going really slow. So I'm just gonna cheat here. You got to do Pierce and Vulnerability if you want to get to those shields quickly. Excuse me. Yeah, they play it very safe when it comes to like your primary companion in an RPG or a gacha game or whatever. They play it ludicrously safe. Having Hans be the primary companion would actually be pretty hard to write. because different writers write the different stories and stuff, and then also kind of oversees it, right? Hans is actually pretty hard to write because you have to be clever, and as like a lot of writers put it, you don't have to be as clever as your character because like a character has to think up of what to say in like a second, where the writer could take a month to come up with what the character says, right? So you don't have to actually be as clever as your character is, but because Hans is so Hans, I'll just put it that way, that it would be much more difficult to write than MASH. MASH is incredibly simple to write, which that's another benefit of making characters like that. Man, we almost got an extra turn there. That'd have been really big, but he doesn't have that much health, so it's kind of unlikely. Yeah, it pretty much just comes down to, I think we got it though. We'll actually do a tiny bit of damage here. Stargen is what I care about. Do that. So we actually get 2 turns to kill him, not just 1. Pretty much fire everything on this one though, unless we happen to get good crits without using these star bombs. Now we'll do the star bomb now. Hey, Warlock, thank you for the 3-month sub there. Thank you, appreciate it, dude. Twitch Prime too. Or Prime Gaming, which I still don't even know what Prime Gaming is, but I appreciate it. Alright, chat, let's see what we do. He's probably dead right now, and even if he's not, we'll kill him next turn. This is what I'm talking about, and this is a Berserker, right? It's easier with a Saber, because you actually die slower than everyone else. And yeah, you can potentially have good damage on a Saber as well. But this is just Beowulf, right? This is just Beowulf, which, you know, he's not bad, but he's not a god tier unit or anything. And we're pretty much just one-turning a boss the second the shield's gone. Nope, yeah, he's dead. Okay. I thought he might live to the next turn, but no, he's dead. So yeah, he'd have to kill us that turn, guts would go off, and then I get to attack him again, right? So it's just not, it's a nothing burger. The thing is, if the boss was tankier, like if the boss had like 800k health, we'd probably lose. That's the thing, we'd probably lose. That's why it's so hard at neutral, because then the boss has almost 1,000,000 HP, essentially. Caligula could probably do this, but it would be harder because you would have to land the defense buff, and you would have to get 2 turns out of your evade. Health. One time with evade. Yeah, you have to get 2 turns out of your health. But if you did that, because you landed the defense buff, because then you probably would get 2 turns out of your health, then you would win. He might be able to win with only getting 1 turn if you just got a really good turn of damage. Because he actually, Caligula does more damage than Beowulf. Like, he just does. He has more damage up than Beowulf does. But it is so much easier for Beowulf to crit. Because he has Star Bomb and stuff, where Caligula doesn't have that. Also, Beowulf's NP actually does damage, where Caligula, you're focusing on BBB with no NP. So it's harder. So because look at what happened to Beowulf there. One of Beowulf's cards, Buster cards, didn't have a good crit chance on it. But because I'm doing it in P, I just don't pick that one, and I pick the other 2 that do. And if one of those had a low crit chance, then I would have clicked the other Buster card, right? So it makes it really easy to get big damage. Beowulf or Caligula can't do that, so it's just harder for Caligula. It's just more RNG. Like, Caligula can do it, but it's just there's gonna be more RNG involved. But yeah, the Caligula, in his advantage though, he has the big defense up, he's got more damage up, and that kind of thing. So if he does land the crits and stuff, he'll just kill the boss super easy. Okay, I think I'm gonna do some Arknights now, just because if I don't do it now, I'm not gonna have time to do it. There's still plenty that I kind of want to mess around with, but we can just do that later. And my god, I need to get UP. But yeah, for those that are just here for FGO, I think that's enough for today. We'll have 6.5 soon. I don't know what I'm gonna do with 6.5. I don't know if I'm streaming it or gonna like rush videos out or what, I don't know. We'll see. We'll take it one step at a time. But that is very soon. But I haven't really done the event on Arknights yet, because I figured I'll just stream at least the start of it. What I've been doing, because I didn't want to whiff my AP, is I did the first stage in the event, and I've just been doing that over and over, which is horribly inefficient, but it meant I didn't waste my AP or sanity or whatever the hell they call it over there. All right, give me a second. I gotta change the stream title, etc., etc. And I'm gonna reset the stream in a second to split up the VOD. Chat, I was making the title, you know, free-to-play ops plus Rainbow Six, because that's what I use. But instead of doing plus, I did equals. It said free-to-play ops equal Rainbow Six, which is like saying that all the Rainbow Six ops are free-to-play, which, you know, they can be. I got them free-to-play, but that's not how that works. Guys, just get lucky and be playing the game when you were rated up, right? Or have saved up a bunch. So yeah, easy, no big deal. All right, let me reset the VOD and I'll be back in like 2 seconds here.